Hey, before we go live, I want to say
Too late. TikTok, time to rock. Hey, someone said, can the stream start in 25 seconds? Wait, should we wait? Should we stop? Should we stop? Start over at 25 seconds later? Is that what you're telling us to do, Protestant believer? Because you're making me want to become a Catholic with nonsense like that.
yes.
No, we were late, ladies and gentlemen. AP decided to, because he was just traveling, he decided to switch days, because normally I go live on Sunday and he goes live on Saturday. But it was just like 2 hours ago. They told me I knew what I wanted to do for tomorrow, but I had nothing ready. So anyway, I wanted to pull up a bunch of stuff. Had to pull up a bunch of stuff, bunch of slides, bunch of dope stuff.
Yeah, I must admit that for the first time in history, it was actually my fault. So I have to take responsibility here and also and say it was my fault. David couldn't have known. I informed him like 2 hours ago and said, "Hey, can we please switch?" And he was like, "Fine." So yeah.
Fine. But anyway, so I knew what I wanted to do for tomorrow. I'm thinking I'll probably make a short version of this, because we're going to go through careful and methodically. But this is a video that could be done rapid fire as well, because the video we're going to be responding to is not. He says he's going to prove Islam in 25 seconds, but this video is like a minute and little under a minute and a half. Don't count that against him, because he has a little intro and stuff at the end. I didn't time him when he's actually giving his arguments.
So he couldn't manage to prove it in 25 seconds, or 35 seconds?
Do 25 seconds, 25. We will actually time him when he's actually giving the arguments and evidence and see if it's 25 seconds.
Oh, okay.
If it's not in 25 seconds, if he doesn't do it in actual 25 seconds, that will mean that every single thing in his video is completely wrong. Because basically everything else in his video is completely wrong. So if that's wrong too, then it was 100% of what's in his video is completely wrong, which is, that's got to be some sort of record, man. Being wrong about so much in such a short time, such a short time. Hey, Pete, want to share anything before we get started? I know you've been traveling and stuff. I don't know if you want to say anything or tell people what's coming up or not, or just let them wait. What do you want to do?
Yeah, so I basically just shared a post on my like a selfie on my YouTube post community tab. But I was traveling. I went to meet up with Mad Fred,
the Catholic.
Yes, Pints with Aquinas.
And what did your Eastern Orthodox overlords have to say about that?
They said if you go and meet with them, then we will have to kick you out. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Matt Fred trying to take advantage of a Kate Schumann in the Eastern Orthodox Church to try and convert him to his popery. But no one's going to fall for that, Matt Fred. Nice try, though.
The funny thing is that when he got in touch with me, he didn't even know that I was kind of that I'm turning toward Christianity. He basically just knew about me, that I'm an ex-Muslim, and that I have a close relationship with Christianity. So and the funny thing is, I had just bought a book from him, which is a pocket guide to the Rosary. I was actually practicing the Rosary and really loving it, and I wanted to look for books on this. So I found this book, which is a pocket guide to the Rosary, which is his book, and ordered it, and was reading it. And then the same day, like as I'm reading it, I get a message from Cameron Bertuzzi, Capturing Christianity. He's like, "Hey, Matt Fred,
also Catholic."
Yeah.
What
and I'm
are
like,
the odds?
What, Matt Fred wants to get in touch with me? And I look at the book like, this Matt Fred? So turns out it's him. So we had a very interesting, funny conversation about that as well. But yeah, we had that, and we talked a lot about, the initial plan was just to talk about Islam and compare that to Christianity and the culture and all that. Then we ended up talking a lot about Christianity and Christian belief and Catholicism and Orthodoxy. And then we also talked about Islam and also talked about child marriage. So,
hey, it's, it's funny. He's probably thinking, hey, AP's an ex-Muslim, but he seems a little friendly towards Christianity. I bet if I have a great conversation with him, he'll start to warm up towards Christianity. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm a Kate Schumann.
That's funny. That's funny.
You know what would have been funny? You know what would have been funny if he's like trying to talk to you, and he's like, so hey man, you might want to lay off the agnosticism and think about Christianity. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm already becoming a Christian. And he's like, what? He's like, Eastern Orthodox. And he like jumps up and punches you in your face, and you guys start fighting.
Yeah. He beats me up there. The funny thing is that he's actually apparently a very rare but Eastern Rite Catholic or Byzantine Rite Catholic. So he's been very much doing practices in the liturgy the Orthodox way very much. But I think he said that since he has been in America, he's Australian, which was kind of suspicious. I didn't want to go meet him because he's from Australia, but then I thought, I can allow it this time. So I met with him, and he's just a regular Catholic, Roman Catholic, and all that. But it was a very, very good discussion, man. It was very, very good. It was lovely. It took hours, many, many hours, and I'm glad it happened.
So, any idea on when that's coming out? Is that something that's going to be out like 2 days from now or a month from now? Or I don't know how he records.
He said it's going to be published within the next 5 years, but
That's
no, no. He said it's probably going to be like within the next 2-4 weeks, or 2 to 5 weeks or something. He said, I don't know. So,
look, you mentioned Catholicism, so guess who shows up instantly?
Christianity says hello.
No one expects the Catholic Inquisition.
You see, they're gathering now. You see,
gotta see what AP's up to. What is he saying? What's he saying about Matt Fred? What is he saying about the Catholic Church? All right, guys. So, yep, we look forward to not watching that attempt to brainwash our friend AP. So, guys, I saw this video on the Dean Show because I think it's my most recent video. Is it my most recent video beside the live stream? I think my most recent video that I posted was about the Dean Show getting just completely ratioed. It was epic. We had Inspiring Philosophy here a second ago, but yeah, he pulled one of the same old Muhammad in Song of Solomon 5:16, and it's so different. If you just go back, I said this in the video, if you go back 5 years, and someone said, hey, Muhammad is in Song of Solomon 5:16, and you started responding, like you would instantly be bombarded with everyone saying, you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar, he isn't there, it's the truth. Whereas now it was flipped, it was reversed. It was like a couple of people trying to defend, and like everyone just blasting away at it. And then is your boy Eddie from the Dean Show, who has over 1 million followers there, just got completely ratioed. He had like 400 and some likes, and I had like 2,500 just on my comment, which meant that the people there were more significantly more in favor of my view. He also got ratioed by IP. IP had over 1,000 people like his refutation video right there. It's just like, again, this is different, guys. This is I mean, if you go back like 15 years, there would be like one or two people per country responding to us. That was good. You had some people arguing online and so on. But as far as like the people who were going to show up to respond to something, it would be like 1 or 2 people, if that, and they would just get drowned out. And now it's reversing, and people are just like bombarding these guys. And anyway, so that's why I was on the Dean Show's Twitter page, and then I went back to see how it was doing to click a shot for the ratio, and I saw that he posted a video by some kid. Not a kid, I don't know. He seems like late teens or maybe 20 or something like that. But apparently some American revert who was impressed by all the evidence for Islam, determined that it's the truth, and then decided to give some dawah, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to give dawah, and he's got it down. He basically fires off a bunch of stuff, rapid fire, doesn't give any references, so that people can't look them up easily, because then it would be obviously bogus real quick. And then so he posted that, and then claims that it's the proof, and you can't refute me and stuff. So he really, really learned the dawah well. But he claims to have proven Islam true in 25 seconds and says no one can refute him. So what we're going to do, matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull up that the Dean Show sharing this. So this is Eddie from the Dean Show. Up there, you see it up in the left-hand corner. What? Cameron, get your face off here. So Eddie from the Dean Show, who has over 1 million followers. Yeah. Proving Islam. Proving. And then you've got the kid there. I can prove Islam in 25 seconds. And it's just, I mean, I mean, Eddie's not the brightest guy in the world, but I mean, even he has to know that some of this is completely bogus. And I mean,
That's an understatement.
yeah, and even he has to know, guys. Your own Dawa guys have debunked these, have admitted that these are debunked. It's arguments that they've already admitted were fake. They were based on deception. But people are still using the arguments at the popular level. The Dawa guys aren't using them anymore, but like the just regular Muslims who converted based on this stuff because they're still reading Dawa stuff from 10 or 20 years ago or watching Zakir Naik videos from 15 years ago. They're still falling for this stuff and running out. They don't realize their own champions of Dawa have already rejected this stuff as nonsense. And so, guys, it's well, just think about that. If young people are still converting based on this stuff because people are still sharing this stuff on TikTok, sharing these stupid arguments on TikTok, what's that mean? It means that even though things are way better right now than they were like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, we still got a lot of work to do. In just you just have to hunt it down. You just have to hunt it. There should be a channel called Dawa Hunter, and it's just that. I just came up with that. Top of the head, Dawa Hunter, right? Call your channel someone, Dawa Hunter, and just play a Dawa clip and then play the refutation. Make it easy access. So, what?
I think I might have seen such a name already. So
Someone already came up with. No, you're thinking of Retard Finder.
same thing, but still.
What's wrong? Someone already got my channel Dawa Hunter because that sounds funny.
Yeah.
And guys, it shows why Dawa guys will not use these arguments to anyone who knows the Dawa script anymore. If you just watch the new videos of Speaker's Corner. If you are a Christian who knows the Dawa script, knows how to respond to the stuff, and you walk up to a Muslim, try to have a discussion about their points, they'll actually call the cops on you now. Police, he's harassing me to get the guy away because they want to talk to people who are completely ignorant. And it's like, how confident are you? How confident are you in your arguments if you only want to talk to people who are completely ignorant about them and cannot correct you at all? That's Dawa. That's the situation. So we actually have to hunt all this stuff down. We have to hunt down every argument that pops up and post the refutation. And so we're going to, guys, in this video, he's giving some of the most common arguments. I'm going to put the responses on the passages and so on that refute that. I'm going to put them on the screen. They're going to be on the screen. Take down the references or take screenshots or whatever, and go. Every time someone brings it up, you have to be ready with this stuff. And we need thousands of people just instantly ready with this stuff. So anytime someone posts, oh look, here's the proof, boom, you need to get bombarded, just like it happened to Eddie from the Dean show the other day. Poor fella. Gotta suck. All right, let's take these first little batch of super chats, and we'll jump right into the video. Now, my plan is we're going to watch the video all the way through. I'll do a couple pauses, just because a minute and a half would be, that there could be a copyright issue depending on how sensitive the system's being. So I'll just pause it for a brief commentary, a couple along the way, and then we'll go point by point. We'll dial it back, and then we'll go point by point, looking these things up and seeing how good these arguments are that persuaded this young man that Islam is the truth and that everything else is false. That's what he said. So Jack Ray says, I see AP's late top is working as intended. No, this was me, although AP's to blame for a different reason. Traded dates. 18 Ministry says, why is Surah Al-Baqarah so painful to read? That is an ongoing problem. That's why when people tell me, David, I want to witness to Muslims, should I read the Quran? I say, worry about that later. Do some other things first. Why? Because everyone who starts to read the Quran, they go chapter 1. Oh, that's easy. And then they go chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, and they give up halfway through, and they never read it. And then they never witness to Muslims again because they're like, oh, I haven't read the Quran. So yeah, it is painful.
This is actually, this is probably not a very strong argument, but this is something that comes to mind, which is that you open the Quran, and it is a book that is meant to be read by all humanity, all times, and so on. However, generally, a book that is easy to read, that is a page turner,
Not the
is for different reasons that are very much universal. Generally, not a book that you open and where then you have one so-called chapter that just goes on forever and ever and ever and ever, ranting about random nonsense. With the Quran, this is the problem. Surah al-Baqarah, not Bukhara, but Baqarah, so is the second and first actual chapter of the Quran. You open it, and it's like it jumps from topic to topic 1,000 times. It is just a bunch of endless ranting. And most people who attempt to read the Quran don't even get through the first chapter, because of this. How can you argue that this is a book that is like the best book ever written? This is certainly not a book that is written for to serve as a page turner.
It's the second chapter, AP.
Whatever.
First,
the first actual
chapter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, according to Muhammad's top expert in the Quran, Abdullah ibn Masud, it was the first chapter. He said chapter 1's not supposed to be in there. That's a prayer. Interesting stuff. So AP is right, according to Ibn Masud. Is it gay to kiss the Quran goodnight?
Yes.
Trying to think. Let's see. So there is the mother of the book, but that's some sort of heavenly tablet. So that would be a female. I don't know. Is the Quran male or female? Is the Quran a boy or a girl? Because the Quran, no. The Quran appears as a pale man. The Quran appeals a pale man. So yes, if you are kissing a pale man goodnight, then that would be gay.
I would think it is still excusable, and so unless you go as far as going and smooching the black stone, I would say that would be the gayest thing to do. Because there you are sweaty, in the
guys
heat,
crawling all over you, feeling on your butt, stuff.
Naked, touching each other, going forth just to smooch this stone. I think that would be gay, pretty gay. But the Quran, I still have some tolerance.
And by the way, guys, that's completely serious. Mecca is like the sexual assault during the Hajj is like the sexual assault capital of the world. I know a guy in New York who is a Quran only Muslim now, but back in the 80s when he went for his Hajj, he was just a regular Orthodox Muslim, and he said that they were warned when they were taking their trip that people are going to assault you there. And he's like, what? We're guys. They're like, no. Yeah, anyone. Just people understand they could go there and just grab and feel on anyone. No one can do anything because it's going to cause a scene, and no one wants to disrespect the location. So they know they can get away with all these predators and so on. And so he's like, they're not going to mess with us, man. We're from Brooklyn, right? And he said it did happen, and they almost broke out into a brawl over it. Him and his buddies over a guy feeling on them.
Yeah, it is a messed up thing when you go to the pilgrimage to Mecca. It is basically where the law of the jungle starts taking control, and where you have to fight for your survival and for your behind. Where you have to have a sexual survival as well. And one thing that I always remember is that when I was a child and my parents went to the Hajj. An advice that was given to my parents was that my father and the men should always make sure to keep their wives very close to them and always have contact, always hold their hands, not get into the cabs before them or after them and so on, and to just keep them very, very close, because there's always a great risk over there of the wives being sexually abused, of being groped and even abducted and possibly raped and stuff like that, which abundantly happened. And there were reports years ago where women were speaking up and talking about this, but they were like quickly cracked down on.
Yeah. You remember that? So yeah, two things there. One, I'm sure you've seen these pictures where if they come as a group from a country, they'll be like the women in the middle, and they will be surrounded by the men of the country just to protect them and stuff. I mean, think about this. It's like everyone going there understands that this is like gropey central, the Hajj. And then what you were pointing out, this is very interesting because so you had the Me Too movement, and then they started Mosque Me Too, right? And these were mainly, it's not just stuff that happened in the mosque, although there was some of that, but they were focusing on the Hajj, and they were just talking about, it's like the ladies are saying, we're literally walking around the Kaaba and can't stop guys from grabbing on our breasts, our rear ends and stuff like that, just reaching for everything they can, and we're not allowed to do anything about it. So they called that out. Anyway, I was taking screenshots back then because I was going to make a video. I was going to call it Islam's Dirtiest Little Secret or something like that. You can't find any of those anymore. I can't find any of the ones I took. I mean, again, I still have screenshots. I can't find any of the originals because they were all harassed into taking them down. You're embarrassing the Ummah. You're disgracing. You're being embarrassment.
Oh,
You're helping the
dare you.
kuffar. And it's like they can't even speak out. So it goes on. But you can't call it out because people will use it to criticize Islam, and so just let it keep going. And so, guys, that would be like it's sort of similar to what happened in the Catholic Church in terms of if you are a victim, you don't want to cause a scene and embarrass, but eventually you have to get to the point where you just say, no, we got to talk about this stuff. We got to talk about this stuff. In Islam, they are not at that point. They're still in the you need to keep your mouth shut about what goes on here. What happens in Mecca stays in Mecca. That's the rule. That's the rule. Let's see, take a couple more. Downloaded X a few days ago and could not believe all the Jew hate. Also, sorry, AP, about the Groiper Orther Yeah, that's it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that in the past.
The funny thing is, so yesterday, some people might have witnessed that there was a big falling out and fighting between me and certain people in the online Orthodox community yesterday, and to be honest, it was also a day where I forgot my medication after being sick and taking heavy pain medication, and also having years of hyperactivity and depression and anxiety medication, which I'm kind of trying to reduce at the moment. I forgot to take it with me on my travels, so I was left without anything, and like feeling completely tired and agitated and weird. And then I go online and I made a post just praising two figures in the Orthodox Christian history who helped save Jews and fight the Nazis during the Holocaust.
They were not true Orthodox, or they would have slaughtered them.
And the good thing is, like, most Orthodox react to it with praise and with admiration and all that, but there is a strain or a circle of Eastern Orthodox Christians online that is unlike anything that you see in real life, which is like pure pro-Nazi and pro-Russia filth. And they started attacking me and turning this whole thing into a civil war. Like, you're trying to impose Zionism on us and mix it with Orthodox Christianity. Like, maybe I would like to do that, but I actually didn't do that at all. Like, I didn't do any such thing. So there was some really messed up stuff.
Don't worry, there's still time.
Yeah, well, I have to plan and work toward that, like, with more care and more secrecy. You know, I can't just expose that so much quickly. But so X has become really poisonous. And yesterday I was in fact at such a point where I thought maybe I should just delete my account and not do anything on here. But then I think, do I really want to give in and let these people win?
No. You want
No.
to humiliate them.
Fight. So, yeah, that's a problem. It's not about Orthodox Christianity. It's not about Catholic Christianity. It's not about Christianity. I know that there's a section or a faction among the Catholics that pretends to be traditionalist Catholic, and the vast majority of them are online. You don't see anyone like that in real life. There is a faction among Eastern Orthodox Christians. You see them online. You don't see them in real life.
That's what they focus on. They focus on taking over an area and like working together. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, much of it is just is anonymous accounts with no names attached to them. And I'm pretty sure that Russia probably has like lots of has their fingers in trying to cause this, or trying to cause division and hate among Christians, among Western people, and so on. Russia is really the devil, the Satan, the evil of Europe, and is really trying to do lots of bad stuff here, and it's just bad that they are somehow a little bit successful in that.
Yeah, you said something about Russia, and then I said Russia ruins everything or something like this, and then they started whining about me. Like, what? Are you joking? It's like, no, Putin sucks, and so does Russia. Anyway.
It's like it is such a source of corruption and filth, and so responsible for so much of horrible things that happened in Europe over the last centuries. It's not even recent, like over centuries, and they always have this complex of trying to be the arbiters of what of what European culture is, of what Christianity is. They try to have a monopoly on European culture, on Christian culture. They try to have their fingers in everything, and it's just sickening. And there are some people who are like, "Oh, you just became a catechumen. You shouldn't be talking about that." This has nothing to do with catechumen. This has nothing to do with theological issues. This has nothing to do with learning about orthodoxy. I have had this view forever. It is simply historically accurate. It is a problem. The whole Russia poison that is being spread online is disgusting, and you know they do this
Yeah.
whole thing. I mean, I sat down to talk about this today. It's like they come and randomly start talking about Ukraine. It's like they go on a script. When you mention something about Russia, they're like, "Oh, so you're supporting Ukraine? You say we should be
Yes, we're
dying."
saying we should be. Oh, you want an endless war? You're for endless war.
I didn't even mention
Yeah,
Ukraine. Nobody
guys,
said
no.
anything about Ukraine.
We're saying Russia sucks. No matter what else happens, no matter what wars there are, Russia sucks. So all you Russians, keep your disgusting stroganoff and vodka smelling fingers off the keyboard and stay off platforms with us, or you will
Yeah.
get
And the
humiliated.
funny thing is that there are these pro-Russia people who are telling me, "Oh, you have to be pro-Russia. You have to be anti-Israel." I'm sorry, man. Look, I'm an ex-Muslim. I'm a critic of Islam. Uh, let's compare the two, right? There is one side here, which is Israel and Israelis, who will do nothing but give people like us, a nod, a protection, working together, while also trying to make peace with their own population and with the Muslim population and so on, who will protect us, who will condemn the Islamists who try to kill us and so on. On the other hand, on the other hand, you have the pro-Russian so-called traditionalist filth that would happily walk with the Islamists, that actually fight together with Islamists against fellow Christians, with the Chechen Islamists, and that would actually, like, if I got killed today because of my disrespect toward Islam, there would be two sections probably that would celebrate this. One would be the Islamists, and the other would be the traditionalist Orthodox Russian Orthodox Christians, so-called Russian Orthodox Christians. You think I'm supposed to have respect for your group and not for Israel? Get the hell out of here.
Um, 1 second, where'd that comment go?
Anyway.
Hang on. Here we go. Talmudic Tunnel says, "Are you saying you hate grocery stores?" We all learned that from the great Tucker Carlson, who informed us that Russia has grocery stores. Are you saying you hate powerful escalators and grocery stores? That's what he really found impressive. Yeah.
And here's a Timon Alexander saying Israel is perpetrating ethnic cleansing in Palestine. Look,
Let it go.
I was
Trying
I was
to
gonna
get a
I
rise
was
out of it.
gonna say something really nasty about this, but if you think that Israel is committing ethnic cleansing here, I really have some bad news about Russia for you, bro.
Yeah. And speaking of Russia, I would rather never go to a grocery store again than say one positive word about that vodka smelling cesspool.
You see?
John Lennon here, the John Lennon. But David, can you absolutely and positively confirm you know where the semen comes from? Yes, we're going to see it in the Quran. Shalom, little weaklings. I have consumed the wingling. And we know Muhammad is the world's leading expert on all things semen, so we should listen. Shalom, little weaklings. I have consumed the winglings. My powers are increasing. Your weakness is my strength. This is from Dark Tovia. He's destroyed them all.
You see?
Muhammad only needed 25 seconds for Diya al-Kalbi. That's true. AP talked to the Catholic. He must remove his pinky. It's what we do.
That's good.
That's good.
You know what's very funny also, with the hate that I'm getting from some fake traditionalists who are doing the whole pro Russia and pro Nazi stuff. They're telling me I should be quiet because I'm a catechumen and I should just listen to them. You know what the funny thing is? I actually sat down and talked to my own priest about that kind of stuff, and especially because it comes up online. And because I see that there is some tension between my love for Jews and my respect for Judaism and my support of Israel and all that, and I brought this up to my own priest, to my own Orthodox Christian priest who is actually in charge of preparing me to become a Christian, who is actually the one in charge of my catechism, right? So not the online people who tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Is my own priest who's actually in charge of me.
He excommunicated you. You could skip to the end. I know it.
And what he said to me, basically, is that none of this is any problem at all. In fact, he said it's good that you feel love and respect toward the Jewish people. It is good that you that you go your way and stick to what you believe is right. It is good that you stand with those who you perceive to be oppressed. And he said there is some tension when it comes to one aspect, which is if you want to go to the religious or Christian Zionist route, that would be not compatible with the Orthodox Christian theology and perspective. And I said I'm very well aware of that. And I don't even go that route. I don't really care about that route. I care just about the secular aspect of supporting the existence of such a nation, of such a state, and the protection thereof, and all that. I mean, he said, for example, that there is no problem with it, and anyone who suggests that this is contrary to church doctrine or that this would put me outside the fold of orthodoxy is spouting nonsense. There is nothing in the doctrines or anything that would support such a thing at all. Like, this is no issue at all. And I even told him that I'm currently looking into saints and Orthodox figures who helped Jews during the Holocaust, and he found that amazing. And he actually wanted me to share more of that stuff with them and to talk with him about this. So my own priest, right, that I went to and that I said to that I want to become a catechumen, to become part of the church, is completely fine with this stuff and is actually supportive of me. And then you have these online people who are like, be quiet, listen to me. Like,
who are you going to listen to? You can listen to people online. You can listen to some real person who doesn't know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Good point. Good point. All right, let's zoom through a couple of these because we want to get to this video. Another hijab college victim came forward asking for help. Hamza, Ramadan is the time for exploits. Someone else asking for, let's see. Hello, handsome boys. Is AP smoking a shisha pipe?
I was recently thinking of getting one, but I'm not sure why this question arises.
That'd be cool. Song about Momo and Aisha, Style of Rude by Magic. Style of Rude by Magic. Not familiar with that one. All the Christians need to stop trying to pull AP to your denomination because non-denominational is the only true denomination. Ha, in your face. Good point.
Oh, you see.
Jesus loves you guys. He paid the price we couldn't. That's true. It would be awesome to see more Christians commenting on Muslim channels with not only arguments, but the Islamic references learned from your channels and etc. Yeah, and that's what has to happen, guys. It can't just be a couple of people posting videos and stuff. It's got to get down to where there are, again, thousands of people just constantly. You have to, because they got thousands of people putting out the nonsense. There needs to be thousands of people responding to it. Dawa Destroyer.
This was actually one of the things we talked about when I went to meet up with Matt Fred. He said that he thinks that there should be more focus on or more knowledge among Christians about Islam and its dangers and struggles. And I really appreciated that because I want to see more of that. And he's a significant Catholic influencer, and I see that most of those who effectively fight Islam online are Protestant Christians, and I would like to see more of that, more of the fight from Catholics and from others and from Orthodox. So that was a very, very good step. And he asked me for recommendations and stuff, and I suggested some channels. I said, don't check out David Wood, like worst source ever, but you can go on different channels like God Logic and all that. So.
Yeah, you know we're actually going to have to do at some point. We just need like an easily accessible list on a website that says, okay, here's the argument they give. Here's a short response if you're on Twitter. Here's a different response for a different platform. Here's a video if you're going to share a video, and just everything right there so that just people can just grab it and instantly share the refutation. Mm-hmm. In other words, do all the research for it, and then you just need people just who are using it, and something like that might be good. Yep. Why are the most vocal Muslims open pedos? Hey, you keep asking that. We don't know that they're actually pedos. They defend it and promote it. right? So, in other words, a guy could be saying, "Hey, it is perfectly acceptable for 54-year-old men to bang 9-year-olds, and this should be the law today." Doesn't mean he's actually attracted to them, although the chances are significantly higher if he's defending it. If someone's defending it, chances are significantly higher than if he wasn't defending it.
Well, I mean, the what's it called? Mohammed Hijab basically expressed his interest in like being attracted to little
Yeah, he's
to little
talking like
girls
14-year-old. He was talking about like
with big
14-year-olds.
hips, with
Yeah,
big
so like,
hips
if
and
she's
all
got
that.
big hips, what if she's 13 and she got the big
What if
hips, you know,
she
and
what
she's
if she got
shaking that
big
thing
hips?
in your face, and you're like, oh, I can't resist.
What if
'cause
she got big hips? You know,
yeah,
what am
what
I
if she got
supposed to
those
do?
hips? Hips don't lie. Hips don't lie. Her ID card may lie and say that she's only 13, but those hips don't lie.
You see?
It's funny. I've never
And
heard that song. I've just heard you say it repeatedly.
and then there is, of course, Daniel Kikuchi is like the foremost pedophilia advocate. But of course, yeah, we don't know if those people actually had direct interactions with with children or not.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah to Allah, the duo Ape and Dawood are live. Congratulations to Ape for journeying to orthodoxy. You did the unthinkable. God bless both of you.
Thank you.
Did you know that Diya al-Kalbi had the moon-splitting pleasure machine, which made Muhammad's milky white moon look like the Japanese flag?
Really? That's
I
interesting.
can neither confirm nor deny what was just said. Daily Wood and Associated Prostate. I'm debating Muzzies who keep using the context argument for Tauba despite abrogation verse. Any bigly advice? Context does not help you. Context doesn't help you at all. Context destroys them. One, you've got, so if you're talking about Surah 9, verse 29, fight those who do not believe in Allah. If you're talking about the context of that verse, if you just mean the context of the passage, there's nothing in there. It says you fight people, and every criterion for fighting there has to do with what basic beliefs or practices. That's it. There's not one word about, and they were being attacked. So that's one. The context of the passage, nothing helps. If you go to the historical context, go to Ibn Kathir's Battles of the Prophet, it was completely offensive. Muhammad got that revelation, and this was a command, and then he decided to go out and attack the Romans, and they didn't even show up because they weren't interested in fighting. So context does not help. So if they want to say context, go context. Just don't let them lie about the context. What you'll have is people who've never read the context. They don't understand it. They just go, but you know, in context, it means something else. Okay, let's go. You got to say, let's go to the context. Watching from New Zealand, are the goat stereotypes, wink, wink, for Muslims just a stereotype, or is there a reference to it in the hadith or something? No, it actually happens a lot. You can look up stories like this. There'll be stories where they'll find out a teenager in a village has an STD and so on, and then they'll find out like 15 teenagers all have the same thing, and that they all got it from the same goat or donkey that they're all sharing and so on. So creepy stuff. Why put pervert in your title? Oh, I see revert and think Muhammad the pervert comes to mind. My bad. Yep. People. Muhammad causes these problems. Quran cannot stay on topic and is extremely repetitive, just a bunch of threats and empty assertions. It's not even in chronological order, yet has an abrogation system. Arabic won't change us. Yeah, that's an ongoing problem. The Quran operates on the principle of abrogation, and yet it's not in order, which means you have to go outside the Quran to contradictory sources on when these things were revealed to try and figure out what even applies. I have told you before, in Mecca, we don't just dry hump hotties and goats. We dry hump burqa ladies of all ages. We dry. You're joking, but that's what happens. Who be covered in semen more often, New Dawa Queen or Momo?
Momo.
AP opinion thoughts on the protests in Turkey. Oh yeah, just saw that earlier.
There is some bigly stuff going on in Turkey. Which is very, very much about. So what happened is, as far as I have followed it, the Turkish government imprisoned or arrested the mayor of Istanbul, and the mayor
is that what set it off? I didn't see what set it off. I just saw there were tens of thousands of people there.
And the mayor of Istanbul is like the number one rival and contender to Erdogan in the next elections. So. They made some bogus accusations about him and actually arrested him, and for supposedly supporting terrorist organizations and stuff like that. Upon which he called upon his supporters and the population to rise up and protest. So there are right now huge protests in Turkey against the government, asking them to step down and to release this guy. And it's more serious than the major protests that happened like 10, 15 years ago or so. I don't know what's, but I haven't followed it further beyond that. I know that some people from Turkey messaged me and were telling me about this. I haven't been able to follow it yet because I was basically traveling. So
we might. I'm interested in seeing where this goes because I do not like Erdogan, even though he's your hero because you're Turkish.
Yeah, I don't like Erdogan, but I don't like Turkey either. So I don't really care, honestly. So
Gabe says, I got X for Lent, defiantly worth the break.
Nice.
Yeah. Fortunately, he has a follow-up here. He got off X for Lent. That's good.
Oh.
That's good. We'll clean out your head of all the poison. In honor of Thaddeus, I'm performing a Ramadan Ripathon and sending a care package to Care. Well, that would be as Islamophobic as Thaddeus, so get ready to get fired. Wanted to say this in an earlier stream, but based Islamophobic and now becoming Eastern Orthodox is AP the next Robert Spencer?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. D Wood, is your debate with AOC? AOC. I forgot I called it the British AOC. Is your debate with AOC going to be public at all? As far as I know, it's going to be live for people who signed up for. Well, they're going to be. There's the audience there, but then people who sign up for the conference, and then I think something like 1 week later, we're all going to post it on our site. So yes, it will. Yes, it will be. It will be public within a week or so after the debates.
When is that happening?
That's like this week.
Really? I wasn't even aware. I saw some people say, "Hey, now they're finally debating." Like, what? How did that come about?
It was Ruslan. So Ruslan's setting up his big conference and out in San Diego, and he contacted Alex and he said, "Hey, it didn't work out last time in New Jersey, but we've got a conference here. No threats directed at us. So what do you think?" And yeah, Alex agreed. So,
that's cool.
Mm-hmm. But yes, everyone will be able to see it. Putin is, oh wait, he smooched the Quran. Yes, is this what all Orthodox do? Do all Orthodox Christians going around smooching the Quran? And then they smooch the Quran and that's why they hate the Jews?
Only those paid by Russia and supported by, and those who support Putin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I share your journey, AP. I'm a Jew converting to Greek Orthodoxy. I'm always open about my background. The born Orthodox have been totally welcoming. The born Orthodox. Not the online.
That is the thing. First off, congratulations. Secondly, and happy to hear that. But secondly, this is the thing. Like I made a post yesterday, which I kind of made at the height of my big disappointment with the whole thing, and I basically said, I honestly regret publicly associating with Orthodox Christianity.
You said, I renounce Eastern Orthodoxy and Christianity. I hate you all. I'm going back to Islam, and I will show you all what happens. Would you challenge me?
And some people wrongly took that as me like now denouncing or renouncing Orthodox Christianity. That's not the intention.
Yeah, you're just saying, hey, I wish I'd kept my mouth shut because this kind of drew a bunch of people over here trying to jump in on stuff. Yeah.
And but the thing is, even when I made that post, when I said I regret publicly associating with Orthodox Christianity, I got likes and direct messages from actual born Orthodox Christians, real life Orthodox Christians who are like, hey, we see what you mean and it's really, really bad. Sorry. Let's message and let's talk if you need something and so on. So there have been lots of people who have been saying that. And as said, actually, if I depended only on online influence and what I saw online, I think I would never end up becoming like going toward Orthodox Christianity just because of how nasty some of these people are online. It's rather going to a church, speaking to a priest, coming together with other Orthodox Christians, speaking to a monk, and so on, that made me feel really drawn toward it. And reading some of the theology and all of that drew me very much toward it. And I also really sympathize and like the Greek Orthodox patriarchate and the church and all that, which is very funny. The very same online people who are so messed up will also, by the way, attack Greek Orthodox Christianity. They will attack the ecumenical patriarchate in Constantinople. They will attack Greek Orthodox churches and say, "No, you have to be Russia, Russia, Russia." It's really weird, man.
Hey, look at this. The more you hate Islam, the more it grows. Truth prevails. Keep it up. They always say this, and it's like, guys, do you have any concept of reality? A handful of us started criticizing Islam in the 2000s, and the apostasy rate went from 0 to 24% in about 2 decades. And now you have people exposing it everywhere. What do you think it's like 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Do the math and stop just embarrassing yourself with the mindless chest thumping. It's not, no one's impressed by that. Let's see. Okay, a couple more. Got to get to this video. But well, it talks about the video. I'm not in a terrible rush to get to the video because it's a short video. But now that I'm thinking about it, we do have refutations to go through. So actually responding to the stuff actually will be a little time consuming. Anyway, 2AP, deep down, you know, starving is bad and eating is good. In your face, refuted and humiliated.
That's a response. That's a reference to Muhammad Hijab.
Yeah.
Who basically made such an argument.
Yeah. A plus, who do you hate more, Turkey or Russia? Turkey.
This is a very good question. I'm not sure.
That's tough.
I'll get back.
That's tough.
I'll get back.
They're both bad. Beware, I'm well versed in Talmud, and this is from Dark Tovia. Beware, I'm well versed in Talmud and Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu is called Krav Maga. Pray you don't worship.
Hey, do you remember we went to when we were in Jerusalem? They were selling these bunch of shirts that are just like Pikachu, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. It's funny. They love that. They love the little puns with like any word you can insert like Jew into. They love making like shirts out of this stuff.
Yeah.
Pray you don't worship Antichrist in Third Temple. Yeah, better be worrying about that. AP is a Jew bot who wants to make people fat. Russia has the best weight loss program ever developed back in USSR days. Yes,
this is true because Russia has a big problem with affording food. So
so they have no food and they just drink homemade vodka, and it's a great weight loss plan. Would you rather eat pine cone jam or surströmming during Lent? Also, you should look into spirit science and its wacky statements.
I would say pine cone jam surströmming. Yeah.
What is surströmming?
I don't even know.
You're German. You're supposed to know this stuff. It's got an umlaut, so you're supposed to know it.
No
God bless everyone starting inquiring into orthodoxy. I told my priest I was learning about orthodoxy online. He said, be careful. Online orthodoxy can be a cesspool. Correct. Sorry you encountered that, AP. May God bless you both.
Yeah, very quickly. This is also the funny thing. When I was having a conversation with my priest, I said to him to just absorb everything that I need to know quicker. I actually started listening to an online Orthodox catechism, and I asked him if there's any problem with this. He said I would generally recommend abstaining from, and depending on who it is and what it is, and if it's just a church or a priest or so, on absorbing the knowledge online. You don't really need that, and it usually doesn't help people very much. So, yeah, funny. It's funny stuff.
This Protestant is thrilled AP joining the Orthodox Church because we don't want him. Kidding, of course. Glad to call you brother now, AP.
Thank you. I love all Christians. I have no problem with any of the denominational stuff, and I wish people stopped fighting about it.
Yeah, wait till you get brainwashed. Preaching about Russia. Lol, Slava Ukraini.
You see?
I'm a non-denominational, charismatic, pre-mill, pre-trib, anti-Calvinist, young earth, anti-Sethite, Protestant, dispensational Zionist, the one true church. How many X accounts with the little symbol in their name actually attend divine liturgy? I'd wager that many are LARPers at best or political operatives at worst. Yeah, that's the question. Are they just, are they kind of loosely Eastern Orthodox and, they got that tagged on there or something like that? Or, or at the other end of the spectrum, are they just, there's a bunch of these guys. Let me get in with these guys and pretend that I actually care about this stuff that I don't.
This is the speculation among Orthodox too, that many of these people who have the Eastern Cross on their profile probably are not people who actually attend church, or probably people who never even went to church. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Hey, check it out. Maybe Turkey will make Erdogan. That'd be funny. That would be some seriously interesting shows, ladies and gentlemen. Skipping lunch and dinner since March 6th. Stop ice cubes. That's a good idea.
You see,
over 2,000. Jesus loves you all so much. Yes, that's true.
you see.
Have either of you read any New Testament? N.T. Wright. Yes, I've read a couple books by N.T. Wright. Currently reading his book in the day the Revolution began. Highly recommend. Yeah, I remember. I read his book on the problem of evil back in the day. I read his book on what was it? The Apostle Paul. Yeah, my brain's a little fried right now, but yeah, I've read a couple of N.T. Wright's books, and awesome lecturer. Matter of fact, the first time I saw him was at a conference, and everyone's like, "N.T. Wright's coming, N.T. Wright," and I was like fresh out of prison and stuff. I'm like, "Who's N.T. Wright?" And they're like, "N.T. Wright," and I went in there, and he's like, he's in like the House of Lords back then because of whatever position he had in the church made you part of the House of the Lords or something like that. Anyway, so I'm thinking, this guy, I'm gonna go see this this politician / scholar and everything. He came out in this purple metallic shirt, but it had the collar and stuff, but it's purple and metallic, and he's got the little collar, and then he has like this big bling gold cross around him and something, and he's like this old guy, but somehow he pulled it off, and it looked cool. It looked like something like in a rap video or something like that, but he made it work. So anyway, cool guy.
Why would I read NT when I can just read the real NT?
Yeah, the real NT. Yeah, how are you gonna name yourself after the New Testament? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm just gonna I'll call myself Bible Wood. Hey, everyone, come to Bible Wood. I'm agnostic, but I wear a big old crucifix cross because Jesus is based and way cooler and less gay than semen covered Muhammad. That's true. That's a good point. David, I've followed your work since the Jesus or Muhammad days. Appreciate all the courageous pioneering work you've done. Lots of us have benefited from it across the world. That's good. That's good. That's good. And now we need to dial things up. Got to dial it up. My brother is also drawn toward Orthodox. Glad that fools online haven't dissuaded your faith.
I love Orthodoxy for different reasons, and nothing that people online say is going to change my mind on it. So.
It saddens me to see such disunity between Orthodox churches. Yeah, and it seems to mainly be an online versus offline thing, and you get a skewed view of what something is just based on who you're encountering online. So that's actually going to be the church may have to deal with that at some point and say, guys, you need to actually be consulting us if you're going around acting as our representatives, because you're turning people away from stuff.
To be fair, there is also there is some tension outside of the online thing going on right now among basically two sides in the Eastern Orthodox Church community, and especially when the war started, when the Russia-Ukraine war started, there was some calling out and criticizing each other among the Eastern Orthodox and all that. But what they just want to do is, hey, we have some political issues and some disagreements and all of that. We just don't want this to lead to another schism inside. So let's criticize, let's talk this out, but not break communion with each other and all that. So let's still stay in unity with each other. And what I find cool about the Greek side is that they're basically trying to also solve the problems with the Catholic Church and also reconcile with the Protestants and kind of get together and have a global unity. And I love it.
Yeah, that's good. I've been saying people are being programmed for division right now. That you flip out on things. It's crazy. You've seen the Daily Wire breaking up. So Candace had a fight, and then Brett Cooper left, and then Jeremy Boring just stepped down. But I want to actually find it. But it was like 2 years ago. It was like 2 years ago when I was talking about everyone being programmed for division right now. And I think I was talking about how, counter jihadists don't always get along because they have like aggressive personalities. The sort of personality is going to go after people who are threatening to kill are people who don't back down from things. It's like, and these guys don't work well together for long periods of time because eventually they disagree over something, and they both don't. Neither one of them will back down, and they'll just go to war over it and dial things up. And I said back then, I said, I'm surprised that the Daily Wire can keep everyone together for working together. I said, and I predicted that it wouldn't last. It would eventually break down. And it's just because I'm looking at all the personalities. All the personalities are, we don't back down. We don't back down. If we think you're wrong, we're ready to fight over this stuff. We're ready to die on every hill fighting over stuff. And it's like, you put a bunch of people like that together, they're eventually going to disagree on something, and they're going to fight it out. And then it's going to break up. And so anyway, it happened and stuff. But that's kind of the situation. There are things that like, you're like looking around at the world and you're like, hey, this is a time we need unity, but everyone's being programmed to focus on your group and to prove your value to your group by attacking other groups. And that's, everyone's being affected by that. But yet I've said before, I believe that Christians can hold it together. I don't think that doesn't mean they will, but because there's an emphasis on Christianity, you have something to appeal to, saying, hey, we should be united. We should be united on this. I think Christians can more so. I don't think atheists can. I don't think there's even a slight chance of it. I don't think Muslims can hold it together because they're taught to fight over everything. I think Jews can out of necessity because they're completely outnumbered and there are a lot of hostile forces. And I believe Hindus can out of kind of necessity. There are certain groups where they're kind of like in one main area. And if they were to really, really fight amongst themselves, then there are people just waiting to pounce. So anyway, AP, there will always be those against you. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Welcome to the family, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dark Tovia, AP, you should come to the dark side. We have kosher cookies. Made with the blood of baptized Christian babies. Ray says, howdy and God bless. Currently deployed in the Middle East right now for the first time, and the blatant disregard for respect and patience towards others, even other locals, has been shocking. Do y'all think that's due to Islam? Also, where in West Virginia are you from? I'm from the Beckley area. I'm from I did live in Morgantown for a while, but mainly outside of Morgantown. There's I think it's got a population of like 800 or 1,000 now, but it had a population of like 400 when I was there. It's basically a big trailer park. Granville, West Virginia. That's where I was from. But yeah, stay safe over there, man.
Which Middle Eastern place? I really wonder. But there is contrary to popular belief, there is not much of a just stay together and be in unity and all of that in the Middle East. There is lots of fighting over the most ridiculous things, which is why they are always infighting and killing each other. Mm-hmm. It's not a very pleasant culture.
Mm-hmm. Surströmming is a fermented fish dish from Sweden. Ah, it was from Sweden. That's why AP didn't know. I saw the umlaut and was thrown off. I was thrown off. Yeah. I'd probably go with the fermented fish. I kind of want to try it though. I kind of like trying weird stuff, even if I know it's going to be disgusting or something. I've told people before, man, my grandma, so she was Norwegian. I mean, she grew up in America, but her parents were like straight Norwegian. But she used to make these cookies called Fatima for Christmas, and it tasted like sweet dirt cardboard, something like that. And it's your grandma, so you got to pretend, and every year, oh, I made Fatima, and then you're back the next day, oh, more Fatima. Oh gosh. What's weird is there are actually people who like them. I thought everyone was like me, and they all thought I'm disgusting. But like my cousin Brandy, one day she's like, "Hey, I got Grandma's recipe for Fatima, and I can make that." I was like, "Oh, you can do whatever you want with that recipe." Great.
It would be funny if you went.
Brother, I buy beer at World Market called Hebrew. That's a real thing. Need help with the Bible? Is Genesis 49:10 Jesus, and why did God want to kill Moses in Exodus before his wife saved him by circumcision? Thank you. Yeah, you're gonna have to. We're trying to give quick responses and not go through these right now, but wait for a show where we're actually dealing with some sort of objections. I'm trying to think of what's coming up.
And yet here we are still talking about the super chats.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hold off on that. I'm trying to think. Going to be on with Inspiring Philosophy on Tuesday, going through some stuff. Matter of fact, we are responding to lots of video clips and stuff in that one. So yeah, go back on Tuesday. And matter of fact, then we'll have IP's perspective on that as well. Is this a good debate argumentation against anti-Paul Muslims that the structure of the Quran is longest to shortest, just like all 13 Pauline epistles? Is this a good debate argumentation against anti-Pauline Muslims that the structure of the Quran is longest to shortest, just like all 13 Pauline epistles? Oh, so you'd say, okay, so you start off with Romans and then 1 Corinthians and then 2 Corinthians and then Galatia. I guess it is roughly longest to shortest. Yeah, you say that. They say they have to love Paul now. No, if you want to respond to their Paul stuff, just go to their early commentators who believed that Paul was a reliable follower of Jesus, because they got that from the Quran. The Quran said that Allah is going to help the true followers, and that the true followers of Jesus are going to become uppermost. Well, what Christianity became uppermost? One that believes in Paul. So they took it. He's got to be good as gold. Sent AP message on X based on Rude by Magic. So that was the response to what Rude by Magic is. Many Eastern Orthodox are worried about Patriarch Bartholomew because he has been hinting at a potential union with Rome. There is also tension. What is this?
Tension regarding
and
Ukrainian Orthodox.
Okay,
Ukrainian, Russian Orthodox. Because the Russian Orthodox Church wants to have basically monopoly over Orthodox in Ukraine, and Ukraine doesn't want that anymore because the Russian Orthodox Church has pretty much been pro-Putin and pro-war with Ukraine and so on. So Ukraine is like, we don't want this in our country anymore. So the Ecumenical Patriarchate is basically allowed a different Ukrainian Orthodox Church to be recognized as proper Orthodox, and Russia has kind of problems with that and so on. But it's usually the whole traditionalist and we are right and everybody is wrong kind of people who have a problem with Patriarch Bartholomew, and I have nothing but respect for him. In fact, I love the Patriarchate. I love the Greek Orthodox Church. I love Patriarch Bartholomew. I think he's a brilliant man, and he's my patriarch, and I support him.
Hey, I'm sitting here cutting responses short, even to questions about the Bible, to try and burn through this. You're like, oh, let me go on to my ode on Saint Bartholomew, and come on, dude.
But let me explain further.
Let me break down 10 more points. Thank you, Dr. Rick, for the super chat. Also, Dr. Rick gifted 10 Roadshow memberships. Thank you for that. Now that AP has become one of us, we are unstoppable. These are coming in faster than I can actually respond.
Let's just walk in.
Yeah, we're almost there. Hang on. Now that AP, I'll just burn through the. Now that AP has become one of us, we're unstoppable. Join us, David, and together we'll rule the galaxy with our Chuman army. And this is from Kate Schumann, so you know it's good. Dark Tovia says, Christian unity? Lol. This is from Dark Tovia. Momo is a chomo. Jail should know. Quran equals ancient. Yep. Momo is a chomo. You say, what you should say is, Momo is a chomo. Jails should know mo. Jails should know mo. Momo is a chomo. People should know mo.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good.
I beseech you, AP, reconsider. Even you even said it yourself. Orthobroism is not base. The Greeks would never have led the Crusades, always losing to Islam. Rome would never have allowed Hagia Sophia to be lost to the Mohammedans. See, you gotta blame the Greeks, man.
You see?
In your face. Dr. Wood, I want to thank you and your viewers for checking out my page yesterday. Multiple people also said I'm way better looking than you. Just saying. Appreciate you, mate. Oh, hey. Yeah, people say nice things to be nice, even though they're lies. Surstro is illegal to open in public in Sweden. Ooh, that's not good. Why would that
makes
be?
sense? I just looked it up. It's disgusting. So,
yeah. Hey, check this out. And then we have this one here. Revert proves Islam in 25 seconds. Let's deconstruct this 25 microseconds at a time for 3.5 hours. That's what we do. And I'm getting baptized next month. Love you guys. Hey, good for you,
nice.
Only Jack. Good for you, Only Jack.
Nice.
All right, guys. That was a ton of super chats that took up, I guess we started 15 minutes late. So over an hour just going through super chats. Awesome stuff. But now we get to the video. So again, we're going to watch this. I'll have a couple pauses just for YouTube can mess with stuff for copyrights and stuff like that. It's all fair use, but I don't want to have to argue it. So I'll pause it a couple times just for clarification, and then we will start it over and go back point by point. This was shared by Eddie from the Dean Show. It was an amazing kid proving that Islam is true in 25 seconds. And here he is.
Christian or an atheist, I can prove to you that Islam is the one true religion in 25 seconds. The Quran was revealed 1400 years ago, and it predicted that Islam would become the largest religion, and Islam is now the largest religion in the world. It also predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen.
Hey, we're not responding to this yet, AP. No responding, even with your laughter. Even with your laughter. Okay, back to this young genius. What's up with those glasses, by the way? You gotta get like mine, kid.
Bear with me, okay? Because it also said that we would have iron come from space, and now we know that meteors have iron, and they come to space, and they hit the Earth. It explains perfectly the expansion of the universe and that it's ever expanding. We found that out just in the last 100 years. Like, these are miracles that you cannot deny. If this wasn't the one...
You cannot deny them, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot deny these miracles. These miracles. This is what he's taught. And guys, keep in mind, you don't have to... As lame and terrible as this is to anyone who's been through this 1,000 times, keep in mind, this is just... Muslims bombarded him with this stuff, and instead of looking up what they said, he believed it. And so he's kind of a victim. On the one hand, I mean, you're responsible for your own actions. So if you are not capable of looking this stuff up, that's on you, because this stuff is not hard to find. Usually you just have to look up what the Quran actually says and see how embarrassingly terrible it is. But they don't. They say, it's a miracle. It's, oh my goodness, it's so powerful. All the scientists in the world have agreed on this. And there are just people who go, really? Wow, okay, I want to convert to that. And then they go and repeat it like this. So this is what I mean, guys.
I don't mean any disrespect, but if you believe this kind of stuff, you probably have brain damage or something. Because seriously, I don't even get it. I usually think that when something like this comes from Muslims, from born Muslims, it is one thing, because it's kind of a cultural thing that restricts them to thinking Islam good and all that, Islam right. But for a Western person, for a Western individual to actually come with these talking points, it's rather embarrassing and borders on being like intellectually incapable. So it's embarrassing, man.
And in the like the 1980s, I mean, it did exist, because the scientific miracles and stuff, they started in like the 70s and so on, but they really took off in the 80s and 90s. Back then, though, the internet's just starting, right? It's hard to look stuff up and find responses. Now, what's your excuse now? And like, dude, anything this guy is saying right now, it would take you 10 seconds to look up and find a refutation of it. It's weird stuff, but let's let him keep going.
Untrue religion, it would not be able to predict these things 1400 years ago. And these last three miracles I'm going to tell you are what really sealed.
So he had the first ones. Now he's got his last three.
Deal for me, proving that Islam is the truth.
Hang on, what did he say?
Tell you are what really sealed the deal for me, proving that Islam.
This is what really sealed the deal for him, ladies and gentlemen. Back it up.
Miracles I'm going to tell you are what really sealed the deal for me, proving that Islam is the truth and all other religions are false. The Quran perfectly explains how we have pain receptors all throughout our skin. It perfectly explains that fingerprints are all different, and it also explains how the human embryo is formed. Now remember, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who the Quran was revealed to, was illiterate and did not know how to read and write, and was severely uneducated.
And
David,
a child molester.
David,
What?
Here's the thing. I will prove to everyone in 10 seconds that Islam is false. And this is like, nobody can deny this. This is just undeniable. This is undeniable proof. I will prove to everyone in just 10 seconds that Islam is false. And in these 10 seconds, these undeniable proofs will just show, and will show that Islam is false. And anyone who still after that believes that Islam is true clearly has a problem with the truth. So here is my proof that Islam is false. In chapter 9 verse 30, the Quran says that the Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, and Christians say Messiah is the son of Allah. This is clearly not true. Jews don't say Ezra is the son of Allah. There you go.
That's it.
Islam is false.
That's it. And note, AP's case is actually better, because he's right. The Quran does say that. 2, he gave a reference, which this guy doesn't. Fortunately, I know the references. And 3, it's actually what the Quran says is in fact false.
Yeah.
And so if the AP,
here's the thing.
what AP just did in 10 seconds is actually a massively better argument than what the kid just gave there so far.
Yeah. And you could now sit down and argue about this and try to explain it. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. In 10 seconds, I've already debunked it. That's it.
Too late. And no one can refute him. Watch what he's about to say. Watch this. Ready?
If someone was uneducated, did not know how to read and write, how would they possibly be able to predict things like that? Even the greatest scientists that we have known in history have not been able to make predictions of that accuracy. And then if you just decide to look at the religion logically, it is clear as day that Islam is the one true religion. You cannot prove me wrong.
Did he
Beelzebub was illiterate and did not know.
Okay, so everyone got that, and you can't refute him. It's too powerful. So that's the full video, ladies and gentlemen. This is standard Dawa stuff. This is standard Dawa stuff. Let me see when he actually starts and see if he's actually at 25 seconds.
Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen. The Quran was revealed 1,400 years
Okay, so it starts at 5 seconds into this video.
ago, and it predicted that Islam would become the largest religion, and Islam is now the largest.
I won't count the stuff that he tacks on at the end, because he's saying, like, how could Muhammad have known this? So he starts at 5 seconds. 25 seconds would be at 30. So let's see if he's done by 30. Or is he still talking?
Miracles that you cannot deny. If this wasn't the one true religion, it would not be able to predict these things 1,400 years ago. And these last 3 miracles I'm going to
Wait, you didn't even get to your last 3, and it's already past 30 seconds. We're past 30 seconds. You said 25 seconds. So I guess he's only counting those first 3 points as his 25 seconds. And then these are bonus arguments, ladies and gentlemen. Bonus arguments. Now, all right, we ready to go through these?
You see, of course we are.
I say we go through these, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's get to his first argument. Hang on, we'll let him start over.
If you're a Christian or an atheist, I can prove to you that Islam is the one true religion in 25 seconds. The Quran was revealed 1,400 years ago, and it predicted that Islam would become the largest religion, and Islam is now the largest religion in the world.
Islam is the largest religion in the world, AP, according to this brilliant young scholar who believes anything he hears from a Dawa guy. Anyone know the source on that? Because let's see. Here's me asking Grok that question. What is the world's largest religion? Grok's response. This is Grok 3. The world's largest religion is Christianity, with an estimated 2.4 billion followers globally. So that's one. And I asked Google as well. Google has its own AI. I asked the same question. What is the world's largest religion? The world's largest religion is Christianity, with approximately 2.3 billion followers, followed by Islam with 1.9 billion adherents. So his first argument, his lead-off argument, the Quran says that Islam will be the biggest religion in the world, and Islam is the biggest religion in the world. On what planet? Because it's not this one. But maybe in Fantasyland it is.
Well, to be fair, Islam is the largest religion in the world if you don't count Christianity. So.
That's true. And guys, there are actually other issues at work here, because AP, we've seen in the past that you've got the avalanche of apostasy.
Yeah.
And when we were looking at those videos, so one, they're in a full panic mode about the avalanche of apostasy, that the apostasy rate went from, again, close to 0% in the early 2000s to 24% as of a couple years ago. So you've got that kind of issue. It's estimated that around 8% of Muslims in Muslim majority countries are actually closet atheists. 8%. So these are people who, in official statistics, in the demographics, are counted as Muslims. It's estimated about 8% of them are not actually Muslim. You're talking about tens of millions of people who are counted as Muslims aren't even Muslims. They're atheists, but they're just scared to say it. They don't want to say it out loud. Then you have, and an example of this is, think about Iran, right? Where vast majority of the population, according to the official statistics of the government, are Muslim. 40% of the population is Muslim of any kind. Now, when you do the polling without the government involvement, Iran is now a Muslim minority country. Tens of thousands of mosques have been shut down because people just aren't going anymore. So this is what's actually going on. So that number, keep in mind that 1.9 billion number, that includes at least tens of millions of people who actually are not even Muslims. And so I have to say, your first argument is really, really terrible. But there's another point. Islam kind of says everything. And then these guys will fixate on something that looks like it's gotten right? Suppose Islam did not grow into a very large religion, but had just sort of fallen apart instantly, right? Like it just, suppose Islam falls apart right now, never becomes the world's largest religion. Suppose it just implodes. Then guys like this will be quoting this, right? So this is Sahih Muslim 146. The Messenger of Allah observed, verily Islam started as something strange, and it would again revert to its old position of being strange, just as it started, and it would recede between the two mosques, just as the serpent crawls back into its hole.
Ooh.
What's this sound like? It sounds like Islam's going to shrink and just go run and hide like a serpent crawling back into its hole, right? So what is this? So if Islam grows rapidly, they say, oh, this is the proof of Islam. How could this be? And if Islam were to shrink and fizzle out, they would still be, you see, this is the proof. How could Muhammad know that Islam is going to shrink? And this is embarrassing, guys. Muhammad said basically everything about every situation. Well, let me put it this way. Words were attributed to Muhammad about almost every conceivable scenario. So that no matter what happens, if Islam becomes really rich, they'll find a prophecy about it. If Islam becomes horribly poor, they'll find a prophecy. If Islam grows rapidly, they'll find prophecies about it. If Islam crumbles to the ground, they'll find prophecies about it. Because people were making lots of things up for a very long time in Islam. But anyway, guys, so his first argument, his lead-off argument was, the Quran says Islam will be the biggest religion in the world, and Islam is the biggest religion in the world. You've got all sorts of conflicting things about how Islam is going to grow, so that no matter what you say, you could always point to something. And in fact, Islam is not the world's biggest religion sport, so fail already. All right, you ready for the next one, AP?
Yes.
This next one's really going to blow your mind. Everyone ready? So his first argument actually has a false premise. It's false.
Predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen. Now bear with me, okay? Because it also said that we would have iron come from...
Oh, hang on. Okay, he just went through that quickly. The Quran said that the Romans would defeat the Persians, and this is let's watch that again because it was quick.
That did happen. Now bear with me, okay? Because it also said that Islam would become the largest religion, and Islam is now the largest religion in the world. It also predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen. Now,
okay, so that was his number two. The Quran predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen. We've talked about this quite a bit in the past, because this is like their go-to. This is their go-to prophecy. Whenever they're trying to show some sort of miraculous prophecy, this is their number one. This is their go-to prophecy. And guys, so think about this. You've got the Romans and the Persians. Now, the Romans, those are Christians. And the Persians, they're pagans. So the story goes, Muhammad and his followers heard about the Romans and Persians fighting, and Muhammad and his followers, they're rooting for the Romans, right? Because they're people of the book. They root for people of the book over... they root for monotheists over pagans, right? According to Islam. Mm-hmm. So they're rooting for the Romans, but the Persians win. And then supposedly Muhammad says, but the Romans will win within a few years. Guys, It's the Roman Empire. What are the odds if the Romans lose something? They may come back and actually win in a later battle.
Oh, it's impossible.
I don't know, pretty darn good, because that's what they did for centuries. So
No, it's impossible.
basically a coin flip. Guys, think about this now, right? I say, I could claim to be a prophet right now, and I say, the Republicans just had a big victory in the elections, but the Democrats will eventually have a victory. And then as soon as someone wins a political race or something like that, a couple years from now, I say, you see, this is the proof. That's what happens when you have two groups that are kind of comparable in strength and so on, so that they're going back and forth, so that they go back and forth repeatedly. And then you say, oh, this one won, but this one will too. This one will win later. Great. Yeah. It takes a prophet to know something like that, right? So I just want to point out, even if it was correct and the Quran said that this is going to happen, you're basically, I don't even want to call it a coin flip, because it's not like 50-50 on whether the Romans are going to win a future battle. If I had to estimate the odds, I would say, like, I don't know, 90% chance that the Romans are going to come back and win some sort of battle over the Persians. So it wouldn't take a genius, but we've got more problems than that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and read the Quran. So it's the Quran. Aleph Lam Min. The Romans are vanquished in a near land, and they, after being vanquished, shall overcome within a few years. Allah's is the command before and after, and on that day the believers shall rejoice. Got that? So the Romans are vanquished. They lost against the Persians in battle in a near land, and they, after being vanquished, shall overcome. So they're going to come back. They're going to come back and get a victory. Everyone got that? So, couple problems here. Our little buddy, he says, how could the Quran have gotten this right? This must be supernatural. This must be supernatural. Okay, why are you assuming it's from God? Because we have passages like this. We have lots of passages like this about Muhammad. Check this out, guys. This is Sahih al-Bukhari, 5762. So we can ask our little friend here, our little revert friend, why he's contradicting his own prophet. Narrated Aisha. Some people asked Allah's messenger about the foretellers. These are guys who are predicting the future. Fortune tellers. They're telling people what's going to happen in the future. They're foretelling things. Some people asked Allah's messenger about the foretellers. He said, they are nothing. They said, oh, Allah's messenger, sometimes they tell us of a thing which turns out to be true. So Muhammad, it's not that they're making predictions and we can't test them. They're making predictions, and sometimes they're telling us things that are happening and they turn out to be true. What do we do? Allah's messenger said, so he has to explain why these guys get their predictions about the future correctly. He says, Allah's messenger said, a jinn snatches that true word and pours it into the ear of his friend, the foreteller, as one puts something into a bottle. The foreteller then mixes that word with 100 lies. So think about what they're saying here. Muhammad, I know this guy. He just predicted the future and it came to pass. He got it right. What am I supposed to do with that? Muhammad says, don't worry at all about that. But Muhammad, it looks supernatural. Guy's getting it right. Yes, it is supernatural. It's because a jinn snuck. And guys, if you go to the longer passages about this, this is actually connected to the Quran. And sadly, our friend never addresses this when he's talking about the scientific miracles. But according to the Quran, stars are missiles that Allah uses to shoot demons. That's Surah 67:5, Surah 37, 6 through 10. But stars are missiles that Allah uses to shoot demons. The stars you see in the sky, those are missiles that Allah is waiting to hurl at demons. And what happens is you've got Allah and he's got his council where he's planning and announcing his plans and so on. And the jinn will sneak up there and listen to what Allah is doing. And when Allah finds out about that, when Allah suddenly looks around and sees, because he doesn't know everything, when he looks around and sees, hey, there's a jinn over there listening to my plans, he or one of his angels grabs a star, hurls it at the jinn. And so when you see a shooting star going across the sky, it's because Allah or an angel hurled a star at a demon. A shooting star in the sky is actually a star that Allah threw at a demon. Now, this, from a scientific perspective, is complete nonsense. When you see a shooting star, it's not actually a star. It's a rock that hit the Earth's atmosphere and so on. So anyway, I'd like to hear our friend here explain how this is scientifically accurate. But here, so anyway, when a jinn sneaks in, he's trying to listen to Allah's plans so they can run and tell his little jinn buddies and tell the fortune tellers what's going to happen. So sometimes Allah catches him, he hurls a star at him, and that's when you see a shooting star. Sometimes they just get away, and what happens? They run and tell a fortune teller, a foreteller, hey, here's what's going to happen. I heard Allah's plan, so I'm telling you what's going to happen. And then the foreteller takes this information, shares it with people, adds his own teachings and stuff to it. So as you saw in the source, adds lies to it. And then people believe the lies because he accurately predicted what would happen. Did you catch that? He had actual supernatural information about the future, but he combined it with a bunch of lies. And so you're not supposed to believe the guy because he's taking something, even though he's accurate about that, he made an accurate prediction, he added a bunch of lies to it. Don't believe the guy. In other words, what's Muhammad saying? People who are predicting the future can have actually divine supernatural knowledge about the future, and you still shouldn't believe them because they're combining it with a bunch of lies. Okay, so according to that principle, should we believe the Quran if it got this right? If the Quran accurately predicted the amazing thing that the Roman Empire would win a battle, should we believe in Islam because of that? Not according to Muhammad. I mean, yes, Muhammad would say we should believe in Islam, but not according to the principle. He's saying it doesn't matter if you predict the future accurately if it's combined with a bunch of lies. Guess what? Tons of lies. AP already went through one. The Jews worship Ezra. That's a lie. It's false. So Islam is, even if this were an accurate prediction that no one could have known, there's no way to know about this. Even if that were true, you'd say Muhammad got this from a demon. That's what you would do. Because why? Because the revelations are filled with lies. That's just the bare principle. That's just the bare principle. That's one problem. But there are more problems, ladies and gentlemen. There are more problems. More problems. The standard narrative about this has holes in it. What am I talking about here? Let's read two passages from Jami at Tirmidhi. Ready for this? Let's talk about when Muhammad got this revelation, according to these two passages in Jami at Tirmidhi. Narrated Abu Sa'id. On the day of the Battle of Badr, the Romans had a victory over the Persians. So the believers were pleased with that. Then the following was revealed. Aleph, Lam, Mim. The Romans have been defeated, up to his saying, the believers will rejoice. He said, so the believers were happy with the victory of the Romans over the Persians. Guys, read this carefully. When did Muhammad receive this revelation, according to Jami at Tirmidhi 2935? After the Persians won against the Romans? Did Muhammad receive the revelation after the Persians defeated the Romans, and then he predicted that the Romans would come back and defeat the Persians? Is that what happened? What's it say? Narrated Abu Sa'id. On the day of the Battle of Badr, the Romans had a victory over the Persians. What is this? This is after the Romans won their victory. After the Romans came back and won, that's when Muhammad received his revelation saying, oh yeah, the Romans will make a comeback and defeat the Persians. Really, after, guys, just to be clear, this would be like me saying, I have received a revelation right now in 2025 while live streaming on March 22nd, 2025, I predict that the winner of the presidential race in 2024 will be Donald J. Trump. Yes, I believe it. I've received this revelation, ladies and gentlemen. This is saying Muhammad received the revelation after the Romans already won it. And then it's basically saying this is why the believers are happy. But always good to have another. Abu Sa'id narrated. It's another passage in Jami at Tirmidhi. Abu Sa'id narrated, on the day of Badr, the Romans had a victory over the Persians. When does this amazing revelation come about? It's after the Romans had their victory over the Persians. So the believers were pleased with that. Then. What do you mean? What does then mean? It means after after this. So the believers were pleased with that. Then the following was revealed. Aleph Lam Mim. The Romans had been defeated up to this saying, the believers will rejoice with the help of Allah. He said, so the believers were happy with the victory of the Romans over the Persians. In these versions of the hadiths, it's about, it's just announcing that the believers are going to be happy because this is going to happen. It's going to happen. And it's just basically recapping what happened. And so what are we supposed to do here? You've got hadiths which say that Muhammad received this amazing prediction after it already happened. This guy just said it, and he says there's no way anyone can refute this. So again, guys, what do you have here? One, Muhammad himself says if someone accurately predicts the future, that does not mean you believe the guy, because he could actually be getting a revelation from something demonic and be adding lies to it. So you shouldn't believe someone if he accurately predicts the future. That's one. Two, what are you talking about? You're talking about like a coin flip. At worst, it's a coin flip on whether the Romans are going to come back and win a battle at some point in the future. I would say significantly better odds the Romans are going to come back and win some sort of battle. And then you've got hadiths saying that Muhammad received this after it already happened, after it was all done, after it was all finished. The Romans had already made their comeback and defeated the Persians. And then Muhammad got it, and it's actually saying, hey, the believers are going to be happy. And they were happy. Is this amazing? Are we supposed to convert based on this?
Yes.
So that's this first two, guys. That's his first two arguments that he gave. This is what's supposed to blow our minds. This is the proof.
Why haven't you converted yet?
Is anyone here? Anyone here converted yet? Because you saw the proof. No one can refute it. He said so.
I can't deny this truth. I have to convert right now.
All right, so let's back it up. And then we get his third of his main points. And then he has a little interlude, and then he goes into some more. But there's a third.
In their war, and that did happen. Now bear with me, okay? Because it also said that we would have iron come from space. And now we know that meteors have iron, and they come to space, and they hit the Earth. It explains...
Why are you laughing, AP?
How many times do we have to debunk this nonsense? This absolute nonsense. Absolute, complete, ridiculous nonsense. The Quran doesn't say that that iron comes from outer space.
I got the passages right here, baby. What? Go ahead.
It doesn't say any of that. What it says is that Allah sent down iron. That's what it says. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that the Quran predicted the knowledge that iron would come from outer space? No. It didn't.
No. And let's go ahead and look at this, ladies and gentlemen. AP, I have a bunch of passages on this because people need to get the point. But let's burn through these real quick. Only it won't take long. But here's the verse, ladies and gentlemen. It's Surah 57, verse 25. And don't look at the beginning. Do not, whatever you do, look at the beginning. In fact, I should have marked all of this off, because all they read is, if you see in the middle, the second line, towards the end of the second line.
Indeed.
It says, and we sent down iron. They say, down iron. We sent down iron. Oh my goodness, Allah sent down iron. What's that mean? It means that iron forms in stars and then eventually gets sent down. How could they have known this? How could they have known this? What happens when you actually start at the beginning? Indeed, we sent our messengers with clear signs, and we sent down with them the book and the balance so that men might uphold justice. What does sent down mean? According to the argument, when he says sent down iron, it means sent down from outer space. And how could Muhammad have known that iron comes from outer space?
We know that the prophets and the books were also sent down on meteorites to the Earth. So
yeah. So keep in mind, if that's what you think sent down means, in the very same verse, it's talking about other things Allah sent down, and it's his messengers. So Allah's messengers, ladies and gentlemen, come from outer space, and they're sent from outer space with the book and the balance. And he sends down iron. So he sends down iron and messengers and the book and the balance, all from outer space, if that's what it means to be sent down, right? Now, just want to address the first little point there, right? Suppose that when the Quran said that Allah sent down iron, it actually meant sent down from outer space. And you said, how could anyone have known this? How could anyone have known that iron comes from outer space? Guess what? Everyone knew that. Do you know why? Because before people knew how to get iron out of the ground, smelting it, so on, the early source of iron was meteorites.
Yep.
People found out meteorites hit Earth, and they take it and they go, wow, this is really strong metal. And they would make things out of them, make weapons and stuff like that, jewelry out of the meteorites. And that was their source of iron. Later, they figure out how to get iron just out of the ground. But back then, the early source of iron was from space. And they knew it. They'd see a meteorite fall to the ground. They go over there. Oh, this is really good metal. And they matter of fact, do not take my word for this.
This is the thing, David. Well, you got to put this into perspective. So when these Muslim apologists and these converts sit here and do this whole thing and talk about the Quran says iron comes from upstairs. Who could have known this? We just found this out. They're making it look like the fact that we talk about meteorites, that this is something very, very new. The fact that we know that there is an outer space where things come from is very new. There are certain aspects of this that might be rather new, which is that we now understand better the whole, outer space and what meteors actually are and so on. But it wasn't a secret to anybody. It wasn't a secret to people thousands of years ago that occasionally things fall down from the sky and come down onto the earth and seem to be very hot and seem to be kind of strange. And so the people knock on those things and figure out that they serve a purpose and that they use the resources of those and so on. They extract iron from these things that fall from the sky very, very early on, thousands of years ago. And at that point, they already have interpretations and they think, I think the gods up there, they're sending us things down to make us rich. So this whole idea that a deity or that deities send down things for people from the skies is not a revolutionary idea in the Quran. It's actually copied from texts that existed long before the Quran and from people that existed long before the Quran.
And it was general knowledge that that's their source, that's their early source of iron. And hey guys, I've got Inspiring Philosophy texting me now.
Oh, me too, yeah. No,
yeah, he's texting. Hey, check this out. He says, I'm pretty sure Sumerian and Babylonian texts refer to metal from heaven in religious context. They were associated with the god Enlil. It was either Ugaritic or Hittite text that referred to black iron from the sky. Well, thank you, because I could have never found any of that out without you, Inspiring Philosophy. Oh, unless I already had it ready right here on the screen. Trying to tell the Dizzle something.
In your face, IP.
Trying to tell the Dizzle something. Check this out. Everyone see this? I got it underlined. To the ancient Egyptians, iron was known as metal of heaven. It was known as metal from heaven. The ancient cultures, they all called it something like metal from the sky or metal from heaven or something like that. Why? Because it came from meteorites. But here, to the ancient Egyptians, iron was known as the metal of heaven, says the University College London. In the hieroglyphic language of the ancient Egyptians, it was pronounced ba and pet, meaning either stone or metal of heaven. For thousands of years, before they learned to smelt iron ore, Egyptians were crafting beads and trinkets from it, harvesting the metal from fallen meteorites. So, what's the claim? That if the Quran says that iron was sent down from heaven, how could he have known this? They all thought that back then, because that's where they got iron from. Durr. But so that's one problem. If the Quran got this right, he would just be saying something that everyone else already thought. Problem is, it's not what the Quran is saying at all. The Quran isn't even saying that iron came from space. When the Quran says that Allah sent down, yeah, you could be thinking space, but in terms of that's where Allah is, and it's just God providing things. God providing things from you. That's what it basically means. You don't believe me? Let's check out the various uses of Allah sending things down. Ready? 222. Who has made the earth your couch and the heavens your canopy and sent down rain from the heavens? So rain doesn't just come from the sky and so on. It's actually coming from outer space, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what sent down means, according to our Muslim friends. 257, and we caused the white cloud to overshadow you and sent down on you the manna and the quails. Sent down what? Manna and quails. From where? well, it says sent down, so it's got to be from outer space. So manna and quails come from outer space, ladies and gentlemen. 39:6, he created you all from a single person, then created of like nature his mate, and he sent down for you 8 head of cattle in pairs. Where do cows come from? Where do cows come from, ladies and gentlemen? According to our Muslim friends, outer space. Space cows. Someone should make a movie called Space Cows about how this happened. It'll be a blockbuster. 7:26, O children of Adam, we have indeed sent down to you clothing to cover your shame. Where does clothing come from? Do we make it? No. Clothing comes from outer space. Ladies and gentlemen, we know it because that's what sent down in the Quran means. 5:44, we sent down the Torah. The Torah comes from outer space. Space Jews. With their Torah. This is why they're so powerful. Their book came from outer space. You see?
That's why they have the space lasers.
That's why they have the space lasers. That's why we can't defeat them. The book came from outer space. A surah which we have sent down. So a chapter of the Quran came from outer space. It came from outer space. Then Allah sent down his tranquility from outer space. And he sent down hosts from outer space. 64:8, therefore believe in God and his messenger and in the light which we have sent down. The light, hey, now, at least you could say light comes down. Say, have you considered the provision God has sent down? So Allah sent his provision from outer space. Guys, are you noticing something? It's basically everything that Allah blesses people with or gives them or something like this. He says he sent it down. What do Muslim dawah clowns do? They look for one that is actually referring, that would actually work with something coming down from outer space. It's a miracle. How could anyone have known this? And one, even if it were correct, even if that's what Allah, that's what Allah in the Quran meant, that he sends it from outer space, everyone knew that already. That's why they called iron metal from heaven. Everyone knew that. So it wouldn't be a scientific miracle. It would just mean Muhammad thought what other people thought. So that's one. And the other part is that that's not what the Quran means. In the exact same verse, he talks about sending down his messengers and sending them down with the book. So that would mean they all came in spaceships, right?
Yeah.
So guys, think about this. The way he presents it, I guarantee, is exactly the way it's presented to him. Do you know the Quran says that iron came down? And how could he have known this? It wasn't until people didn't know about how iron is formed in stars and then eventually works its way here. They couldn't have known this. This guy's just, what? Well, it's amazing. Never crosses his mind to go look this up. To go look up to even read the actual verse. All you need to do is read the verse to see that something is up. Wait a minute, the Quran says other things are sent down. Maybe I need to go through the Quran and see how the Quran uses this language of sending things down. Let alone looking it up and saying, oh no, people in the ancient world knew that iron comes down from heaven. How does he present it? It's impossible that anyone could have known this apart from supernatural divine revelation. And it's not. Any random person in the ancient world could have told you, would have told you iron comes down from heaven. What is this? And again, that's not even what the Quran is talking about. But he presents it as proof because that's how it was presented to him. Guys, dawah is deception. This guy is the target. They're looking for people like him, gullible people who would never in a million years bother to actually look something up. People who are just going to hear what the dawah guy says, believe it unquestioningly, and never research anything. And then he goes back out on TikTok or Instagram or whatever and posts it. I've got the proof. No one can refute this. And then has like this excessive confidence that he also picked up from the dawah guys. You can't refute me. You can't beat me. You can't. And what's the goal? Here's the goal. You tell it. You fill this guy's head with complete lies, like complete nonsense. Guys, we've been through his first 3. What did he get right? He got 0 right. These are absolutely pathetic. These are standard dawah arguments. They're extremely easy to refute. I mean, guys, it takes seconds to refute these arguments, right? But they'll bombard this guy with these arguments because he's gullible. He believes them. He doesn't look anything up. And then they want him out there doing what? Making videos, spouting all this stuff to other people. So you have all these other people, because guess what? There's a bunch of other people who are just like him, and they're listening to him. Wow, really? He sounds really confident. He must know what he's talking about. And then what happens? You get Eddie from the Dean Show, amplifying it to thousands and thousands of people. And the goal in Islam is, again, I call this Islam's 99-1 rule. I need to remake this video because I made it years ago. I need to remake this video. because it goes back. This has always been Islam's rule. When Muhammad was in Mecca going around saying, hey guys, did you know that I'm in the books of the Jews and the Christians? They all know about me. They all know I'm a prophet. None of the pagans around Muhammad know anything about the Bible. They don't know what's in there. So they don't know, which means he's speaking in an atmosphere of complete ignorance about what's in the Bible and just saying, I'm in there, and people are believing him. He sounds really confident. What happens eventually? Muhammad's around Christians and Jews, and they're ready to laugh him out of the Arabian Peninsula for claiming that stuff. And what's he conclude? Oh, you see, they're lying. They're lying about what's in their books. They're lying to cover up the truth. They're lying to cover up the truth. But the 99-1 rule, the principle is, if you have an audience of 100 people and you just make something up and you sound confident and tell them something, let's say 99 out of 100 people are just going to believe it without looking it up. If you get 99 people just mindlessly believing what you say, and one person actually looks it up and says, hey, wait a minute, guess what? The 99 can silence the one, even if they just form a mob and beat him to death. Or he's scared of speaking out against the 99. That's always been Islam's rule. That's always been Islam's rule. Tell people something, make it up. If they're going to believe you, then if a bunch of them believe you, they can silence the one who actually looks things up. That's what dawah has been. And it's always been the principle. When they came out with the scientific miracles and stuff in the 70s and they started running around, the Quran is filled with scientific miracles. How could he have known about iron coming down from heaven? No one knows anything about the Quran. No one knows it. No one back then knew what I just showed you in a few seconds on the screen about what the Quran actually says. People didn't know that stuff. So all these people are believing it and believing in Islam because of the scientific miracles. And then those same people go around spreading it. Did you know it's a miracle? Dawah is just lying to get people to convert to Islam. Right now, however, we're the first generation that can easily expose this stuff. And so guess what? We need to, because again, if someone in the 90s fell for this, that's one thing. It's harder to look things up back then. If someone now falls for this stuff, you're just extremely lazy and gullible. But we still need to help people like that as well. We still need to help people like even this guy, as sad and pathetic as this argument is. Okay, so guys, we saw those first three. I think does he have one more in this first section? Let's see. Was it 3 or 4 in the first section? Let's see.
And they come to space and they hit the Earth. It explains perfectly the expansion of the universe and that it's ever expanding. We found that out just in the last 100 years. Like these.
No, the Quran does not. The Quran does not say that the universe is expanding. Hang on. Let me see if I've got this somewhere. Oh, wait, I got this. Hang on. I'll pull it up on the screen. And we just went through this the other day talking on someone's show, but they always bring this up. Complete mistranslation that was deliberately made to deceive people after it was discovered that space is expanding. All right, so what do we have? Here we go. Whoops, it's not working. And let's see. All right.
You see?
Let's see. I'm trying to get this all up on here. Okay, and all right, here we go. Should have had that ready beforehand. All right. So 5. This is Surah 51, verse 47. This is the proof. Ready? This is the verse that Muslims says that the universe is expanding. Just look at these translations. We have built. This is Pickthall. We have built the heaven with might, and we it is who make the vast extent thereof. Where does that say the universe is expanding? We make vast the extent of the universe. Where does it say the universe is expanding? That's the Pickthall. Here's how Yusuf Ali translated it. There's a typo there. It says pace instead of space. But with power and skill did we construct the firmament, for it is we who create the vastness of space. What's it saying? Just, hey, space is big. We create the vastness of space. Hilali Khan, with power did we construct the heaven. Verily, we are able to extend the vastness of space. There, he translated as we are able to extend the vastness of space thereof. M.H. Shakir, and the heaven, we raised it high with power, and most surely we are the makers of things ample. We are the makers of things ample. Saying, hey, God is the maker of things ample. Does that tell you that the universe is expanding? No. Sher Ali, and we have built the heavens with our own hands, and verily we have vast powers. Anything there about expanding space? No, but we get down to the Khalifa version. Khalifa was a Muslim who was regarded as a heretic and was actually killed by
thought
others.
This is a Christian channel. Like, why do you keep bringing up Khalifa?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? So the Khalifa translation made by someone who was regarded as a heretic was actually killed by other Muslims. And this is the guy who's famous for his miracle of the number 19. And he's actually like taking verses out of the Quran to try and get these multiples of 19 and so on. So this guy's 20th century deliberately messing with the Quran in order to get people to believe in it. And he's the one who says, we constructed the sky with our hands and we will continue to expand it. A guy who is known for fabricating his translations and so on in order to get people to believe in Islam, and was eventually killed because in order to get some of his arguments to work, he had to actually change the Quran. That guy says expand it. What are the other translations? Arbery, and heaven, we built it with might and we extend it wide. Palmer, and the heaven, we have built it with might, and verily we do surely give it ample space. And Rodwell, and the heaven, with our hands we have built it up and given it its expanse. Sale, we have built the heaven with might and we have given it a large extent. Is any of these verses, any of these besides the Khalifa say that the universe is expanding? No. So if the Quran clearly says the universe is expanding, why does no one translate it that way until the 20th century, after it's been discovered? And then Khalifa, in order to impress people, translates it as expand it. And then for generations, Muslims, this is the proof that said the universe is expanding.
It's because you're an Islamophobe, that's why.
And if you want to, guys, you have to pay attention to the next part, because what this is actually saying, hey, he made a big heaven and then he spread out a nice big earth. If you wanted to translate it as something that's ongoing and is continuing to happen, what would you do with this? And the earth we have laid out, how gracious is the spreader, and we have laid out the spacious earth, how excellent do we spread it out. If you want to say this is continuant, then great. The earth is spreading out too. It's still going. The earth is getting bigger. The earth is growing right now. It's making it bigger. So space is expanding rapidly and the earth is expanding rapidly. If you want to translate it that way. So guys, you've got the Quran in a particular translation that only happened after it was discovered scientifically. Then one guy who's regarded as a heretic and is famous for messing with the Quran translation in order to get people to believe in it based on these miracles and so on. He comes up with it, and then what happens? How could they have known this? It's impossible. It's impossible. And no one could know this.
You see?
What kind of, this is pathetic and just outright lazy. All right. So guys, we've been through his first 4. Anyone impressed? Anyone impressed so far with the first 4?
I mean, I'm considering converting to Islam at this point, so.
You should be. I don't know why. I don't know how you ever left. All right, let's take a couple super chats, then we'll go through this last little batch.
Excuse me, I didn't leave Islam. Islam left me.
Sucks that Islam keeps doing that to so many people. I'll take a couple super chats, ladies and gentlemen, and then we will jump into the next section. But impressed so far? This is the proof that he says can't be refuted. Yeah, unless you bother to spend 10 seconds actually trying to refute it, and then it's easy. GB says, Fath al-Bari, volume 10, page 54. Aisha was 14 to 16 when she hit puberty, so 5 to 7 years Muhammad mounted her without hitting puberty. Yeah, that is a problem. Any reason? Because she was still playing with dolls. And that wasn't allowed after you've reached puberty. Ooh, Grandma, ooh, what's that? What's that, Grandma? David first eating sweet Norwegian Christmas cardboard cookies. Yeah, again, tastes like cardboard and dirt mixed with sugar and cinnamon or something. That's what those cookies sound like.
That means it's good.
Thoughts on Fuentes posting about Mossad's supposed involvement in recently revealed JFK files? I haven't been following that story, but you have, AP. I know you've been reading the files daily. What do you think? Did the Jews?
I honestly have to say, I posted about this just I posted a meme basically in response to what's going on a few days ago. Also, after posting a few quick responses to what people are saying. So here's the thing. After I was thinking the entire time, I think I even said this in advance, that when the JFK files are released, right? What will happen is that, first off, nothing new and nothing groundbreaking will be revealed. And the same people who made conspiracy theories forever will either be quiet and move on as if nothing happened, or they will just ignore the results and still twist things into confirming the conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people have done this of all kinds of different directions, of all kinds of different backgrounds, and so on. Now, many thousands of pages of files have been revealed. Nothing at all that is groundbreaking came out of this. What came out actually as a result of the release of the files is that the CIA, from the beginning to the end until now, still what did come out is that the CIA had more suspicion that there is an inside thing at play, an inside conspiracy at play than they ever admitted. So according to those files, the CIA was seriously trying to find what the heck happened, and they were suspecting that there might be a circle within the CIA that had a role in assassinating JFK. But the CIA itself, according to the release of the files, to the very end, never figured out if that was actually true or not. Their eventual conclusion, until the last files, shows that all they know is that one person was involved in the assassination of JFK, and they suspect that he may have had help from certain interests, from certain people, but they did, in the end, rule out that the Soviet Union, for example, was behind this, because they intercepted secret communications from the Soviet Union, where they find out that the Soviets were quite concerned that they're going to be blamed for this. So, but of course, most of the conspiracy theorists were counting on the CIA and Israel being in on this. The thing is, in the files, Israel is mentioned in out of 80,000 pages or so. They're mentioned on a total of 4 pages.
Well, that's the proof.
And and the pages on which they are mentioned, these are the ones that are circulating right now. There is an issue, which is that the CIA, people in charge who are in charge of redacting and publishing these files, have pointed out and said, we don't have any objections to publicizing or to declassifying this document, except for the following sections. And then they highlighted, for example, Israeli intelligence. So the CIA all along never wanted the Israeli intelligence to be made public as a partner in helping their investigations. Now, these conspiracy theorists come out and say, you see, why did they try to keep it a secret that Israel was involved? Now, here's a very, very simple explanation to that. The CIA didn't want the public and the world powers to know that Israel is involved, because what Israel was basically doing is helping the CIA with counterintelligence after the assassination. So they were trying to follow leads, counterintelligence from different countries, and so on. What basically happened is that American intelligence has ties with Israeli intelligence, and America says to Israel, hey guys, we need your help. And Israel says, yeah, sure, no problem. Just make sure that you don't tell anyone about this, because this is between us. And America says, okay, sure, no problem. So America works together with the Israeli intelligence, and then makes sure that any partnership with Israel is kept a secret, because they don't want to give up their partnership with a very, very good partner. This is basically all that happened. None of the files at any point implicate Israel. None of the files at any point even show that the CIA deliberately killed JFK. Like, none of this happened. I know this is a very popular thing to assert, but none of the files had anything like this at all. It's so ridiculous and so stupid. But there are some people who keep harping on this. There is one thing where apparently an Egyptian, Saudi Arabian source says the Jews were, or Israel was behind the assassination. They use that as proof that that Israel did it, but it's actually an unreliable source making such an assertion, and the CIA intercepting that conversation. That's it. So, long story short, the files haven't revealed anything at all that confirms conspiracy theories. In fact, they have debunked all the conspiracy theories. Now, there might be still those who want to believe that Oswald didn't act on his own, and that the CIA was involved, or Israel was involved, or, I don't know, aliens were involved, your mom was involved. And you can believe that, but don't act like this is what the files have revealed. They haven't.
I wasn't even answering Bible questions earlier because I said we have to get through the super chats. And side note, I have to be off by 11. And you just went into a 20-minute rant on JFK?
Yes. And I'm proud of that.
And we're proud of that. You don't have to be ordained. All right, I do have to zoom through these because we do want to get through the last couple refutations of his points, even though they're so good. It might be impossible to refute. He says you can't refute them. You don't have to be ordained by an actual church or be part of a denomination to be a Christian, Mr. AP. I'm a non-denominational Christian. You see this?
Yeah, but I want to. So
yeah, some people want to. Pride divides and love unites. Wisdom is proved right by works. God's ways always work. God is love and cannot lie, and we need to emulate this. Or you could emulate the Dawa script and lie. The first correct thing he said all day, Muhammad was severely uneducated. I like that point. On what planet is 1.6 billion Muslims larger than 2.18 billion Christians? An opposite world where Dawa lives. Redeemed Zoomer reverted, I see. I don't know who Redeemed Zoomer is.
Yeah, he's a Christian YouTuber who is a Protestant apologetics and stuff. But
does he look like that guy?
Yeah.
Ezra being worshipped by the Jews is a scientific miracle. It was foremostly experted in the Quran. The proof is blasphemy laws against Ezra compulsion. Jibril's Injil is also scientific miracle. These are all valid points and refutation. Good afternoon to the best apologists and Daily Wood. Atheist Imam. It's a job. No, that's true. That's when we were talking about people being undercover closet atheists. Yeah, so there was that imam who agreed if we paid him, he would do Quran recitations for us and recite other things in Arabic. And Rashid pointed out, hey, we're using this to criticize Islam. He said, oh, it's fine. Rashid's like, well, why are you doing this if you're an imam? And he says, well, I don't really believe. I'm an atheist. And Rashid said, why are you an imam if you're an atheist? He goes, it's a job. So he was good. But anyway, that's an ongoing thing in the Muslim world. Did he mean largest in terms of terror attacks per capita? Yeah, that's what he meant by largest religion. Oh, thank you. I'm going to steal something. I told you I'll probably make a short version so that it can be more shareable, but I'll steal something like that. Large in terms of how much they defend child marriage? Large in, yes. Was it the Houris that convinced the half-wit? Might be. Islam shrinkage. I was in the pool. Oh, as far as Islam shrinking, that's a Seinfeld joke about him being in the pool. My favorite bass duo. I know the topic is different, but what's your take on Trump-Ukraine situation? Just read how Witkoff said occupied Ukraine regions had referendum and they want to be in Russia. A Putin prayed for Trump. Time is fleeting. Not a lot of time to go in. We might need to talk about this one day, but my general principle is, yeah, I'd like to see peace there. If it were me, I would not want to give Putin an inch because, well, he's a scumbag who wants to revive the days of the Soviet Union and so on, which means he wants to expand and incorporate the stuff that was once the Soviet Union's. So that's a problem. With that said, it is difficult since they already hold certain regions. How do you get these guys out of here? How are you going to convince him to do it? So I don't want to see him win anything, but the powers that be are insisting on compromise and so on. And it might end up being that way. It might end up being that way. Just saying, okay, the areas that are actually in Ukraine that are more on the Russian side might end up going with Russia. That would not. In fact,
Yeah,
I think that's pretty likely.
My short answer would be that, of course, Putin is a scumbag, and the Russian imperialism is just unacceptable. But in order to bring an end to the fighting, I think Ukraine has to make some concessions and give up some territory and move on.
Looks like that will happen, but I don't know. It will be good to get the war over, but it just sucks that Putin's going to get anything out of it. Because if he got nothing if he ended up with nothing out of it, I don't think he'd last in Russia. If he didn't have a way to save face after fighting a war for years, and if he just lost at the end of it, I think he'd be cooked.
In the end, the right thing is what Ukrainians want, and the Ukrainians seem to currently support simply going on with the fighting.
Ed, and Eddie from the Dean Show make me understand why they use 1 + 1 + 1 = 1 ignorance in logic and math, because 25 seconds is not what that was. Yeah. It's 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 all the way up to 91 = 25. AP ambassador to the Catholic Church. From Matt,
You see?
through Matt Frad. 8% are scared to say, but they live as Momo. They support actions of Momos. Momos invade Western countries. They did not have to use violence. That's powerful. Sad and scary. You didn't refute this point. What are you talking about? You're talking about the 8% who are actually closet atheists? Those are living in Muslim countries. They're just scared of like people killing them if they announce they're atheists. Yeshua Akbar, Brother AP, I see the three main branches of Christianity are valid if we hold to the primary doctrines and we can't divide. Taylor, thank you. Let's see. Thanks for everything you do. Been feeling something missing in my life. Seriously considering Christianity after discovering your streams and vids post October 7th. Well, that's good. That's what we're here for. And we've got a follow-up. Read Christopher Gasson's new book after you featured him. He says the Christian way is love. Islam's way is peace. Can't believe Brits still don't know. Did he say that? Islam's way is peace? What? I have serious problems. Mojab was wondering, are there at least 114 counter-Islam polemicists to walk through each chapter? And Giant DOC for Arabic every day was Mojab was wondering, are there at least 114 counter-Islam polemicists to walk through each chapter? And Giant DOC for Arabic every day. I mean, there are 114, but I still don't get what you're proposing here. You're saying we should divide up and each focus on a chapter? I don't know. Hi, AP, just letting you know that Atheist Republic supports you wherever your journey takes you.
Thank you, D. Thank you. I always appreciate you.
Don't believe them.
I know that you have been
lying to you.
a member. You have been a member and a subscriber on the channel for forever. One of the longest subscribing people. I know you. I love that, and I also love Atheist Republic and Armin Navabi and all that fantastic people.
No, you must hate them. You must hate the kuffar.
I never do. There's a minority only. It's actually pleasantly surprising to me that I would say that most atheists that are familiar with my stuff and who supported me in the past have only given positive responses to my announcement that I'm turning to Christianity, and have wished me all the best and such. So there hasn't been like a influx of hate or anything.
Oh, really?
Only a minority did something.
Have you
like
checked Reddit?
You see?
Have you checked the Reddit, atheist?
That's true.
Become a vegetarian. Stop hurting God's animals. Reject ignorant superiority murder cycle of parents. Would you like to be eaten by superior beings? This is
Yes,
Tarun.
I would.
This is Tarun's burner account. We're not falling for that, Chris.
I would.
If these miracles are just predictions, then how did Muslims during Mo's time believe in him if the predictions never occurred at that time? You're actually defending this stuff if the predictions never occurred in that time? Muhammad's argument when he came out was, hey, I've got a big mole on my back. This proves I'm a prophet. And I'm in the scriptures of the Jews and Christians, what they couldn't test. And hey, isn't my lovely Arabic poetry better than this other guy's poetry? That's how he won. That's how he was winning followers at first. He didn't win many. Eventually, when he fled Mecca and moved to Medina, then he formed alliances, and then the message changed to, join me and fight for me, and we'll take everyone's stuff, and if you die, you'll spend eternity deflowering virgins. That's when he won massive numbers of converts. So no, it's not a case of, oh my goodness, he's saying all these things and they're coming true. That's not how Islam spread. Kaaba from meteorite and replicated by a Roman emperor called the nice try. I know what that refers to, but yeah. He always got, oh, they said the N-word. Even if you're, copied from pagans as good luck for Romans and used to circle it. Yeah, that's true. There were a bunch of Kaabas back in the day, and a bunch of, they quite frequently had some sort of rock worship. AP, were you going to debate Dave Smith? I listened to him talk about Israel's history, and he sounded ignorant. I recommend John Spencer for people also.
Yeah, I actually am in talks with arranging a debate with him, but so far it hasn't come to fruition. He seems to be very, very careful in debating people on this topic, which just shows how ridiculous and pathetic he is.
Stop eating innocent animals. Wolf will lay with sheep.
Good.
Yeah, but right now the wolf will just eat the sheep. So
good.
The proof, you see, Quran 1:14:7, and there will come so-called the tubers of you, YouTubers, denying the wonders of we. It's powerful, powerful stuff. Super chat, no comment, but thank you. Let's see. Darby says, David, teach me the simplest argument to dismantle Islam, please, and thanks. We'll be coming out with much more of this year, but the Islamic dilemma. Check out my video. I have multiple videos, but look for one. It's called something like 99.8% of most Muslims don't know the Quran says this about the Bible. It's called something like that. Check that out. That's the simplest, most useful. Just have to learn a couple of Quran verses and pretty easy. I've talked to that kid multiple times and he always blocks me after I bring up the Islamic dilemma. Lol. That's interesting. So people know who this kid is? Yeah. Hey, IMDEXP. In the comments afterwards, not in the chat here because we're about to go back to the video, but in the comments later, send me who that is so I can share my video with him after I make it and actually probably address him by name if I know who he is. Thank you for the work you do for God. Thank you.
No,
Hi,
thank
D1 and AP. Why are some Christians adopting the strategy of Muslims? When a Christian converts, deconverts, I've seen Christians criticize them. What do you mean? People criticize people for leaving Christianity? Of course you're going to do that.
I'm never a true Christian to begin with.
To sum up the Bible, do you agree? Repent and believe the good news. What is the good news gospel to you?
You can find it right in the gospel.
Yep. Jesus died on the cross for sins and rose from the dead, so confess him as Lord. If this crap is the best they can come up with, will Dawa survive 2025? That's the thing. That kind of depends on us. You can see it. They're out trying to push the same nonsense. If we don't let them get away with it and we just crush this stuff wherever it pops up, no. Especially saying you were never a Christian. Oh, this is what they mean. You were never a Christian. Why are some Christians adopting the same things which we hate about Islam, especially with young Don? No, as far as saying, hey, you were never a Christian or something like that, that's not a Muslim thing. That's you have, and you can make a case for and against that position. It kind of depends on what you mean. So the idea is if you were actually in the Lamb's book of life, God has known from all eternity whether you're going to follow him or not. And so how can you say that someone was in that book and then not, right? That would be weird. So, and you have passages, no one can snatch them out of my Father's hand and so on. So you have passages like that, but guess what? Do you have people who believe in Christianity and then leave it? Yes. So what do you want to say? Were they saved, but now they lost their salvation, or were they never saved? Guess what, guys? There's nothing you can actually prove about this situation. It just kind of depends on what you're focusing on. Did a person believe that Jesus died on the cross for sins and rose from the dead? So did Bart Ehrman once believe that? Yes. Does he believe that now? No. So was he a Christian then? Again, it depends on what you mean. If you mean like you were, God who knows everything knew what you were you were in the Lamb's Book of Life and you're just saved forever and stuff, then it would be hard to understand why he left. And so, guys, it's just, I don't know. I'm just not interested in arguing that because you can argue it from either perspective depending on what you mean. And so what you're arguing about, you're saying, I mean this, and other guys saying, I mean this. And I don't know. I'm just not interested. So please don't start.
Young Dawn is also a very bad example for this, to be honest, because I even said before I ever became like Christian-y that the guy doesn't seem like he's an actual Christian, because he from the beginning already had very, very non-Christian ideas about Christianity and quickly went into what people would consider non-Christian heresies and all that. So with him, it's a very, very bad example. But yeah.
Yeah, and I've never seen the guy. All I've heard is like every new person who talks to him, he like changes his mind about everything, and so that's all I've heard. And I don't know enough to comment on him. AP seen Cleave to Antiquities vid on YouTube versus Orthobros on you versus Orthobros. Oh, someone made a video about it. Someone made a video about you versus Orthobros. So you better check that out because he might humiliate you.
That's the thing. Some people made videos about me and wrote stuff about me just because of that whole thing. And
that's what you get. That's what you get for opening your stupid mouth. AP, can you say more about your priest saying something about you not messing with Christian Zionism? Can you define the latter and explain the conflict? We do not have time for that. Matter of fact, I can explain it. Okay. Christian Zionism is like Jews have an ongoing divine right to the land, and therefore the land belongs to them, and this is all part of. So you have that view, but people.
There's also an eschatological aspect of it as well.
Yeah, so you have an eschatological aspect and so on. So you have that, and then you have other people who are kind of like us. Okay, there's a bunch of people who want to kill Jews, and it's happened that people wanted to wipe them out of the world, and they have a piece of land for a reason, so that they can actually defend themselves. That was the idea after World War II. Hey, look, you can't just say we don't need a place where we can defend ourselves and we can just depend on Western nations to defend us. Western nations almost completely exterminated us. So can we just have this one little part of the Ottoman Empire? The Ottoman Empire was defeated in World War I. The British and the French then controlled the land. And so how do we divide up the land? Some Jews said, hey, we're already here. Can we have a little part of this land? Can we just have this little piece of land? They eventually, after World War II, said, you know what? You've got a point. We're in no place to tell you can rely on Western nations to defend yourself, to defend you. Here's a little piece of land that you get. And basically right now, if you say, I believe they have a right to defend themselves against people who want to exterminate them, they say, you're a Zionist. And then they say you're a Christian Zionist and so on. And say, no, there are actually multiple positions here.
Yeah, I just let me just very, very briefly say something, which is that the position from my priest and my church and people close to me, people that I talk to, people who walk that path with me, the position is basically there is nothing wrong with supporting Israel's right to exist, the modern state of Israel's right to exist, and supporting Israel's right to defend itself. There's nothing wrong with supporting Israel, with helping Israel, and so on. And it's totally fine. The only thing that would be problematic is to mix that with Christianity and to say that all promises about Israel are literally applied to in the Bible, literally applied to the modern state of Israel. So you can't mix these things. This would be considered heretical. And I said, yeah, I see that, and I see where Christian Zionists still see today's Israel as representation of the biblical Israel. I see where the other side rejects that. I don't concern myself with that stuff at all. What I care about is that I support the Jewish people and their right to live freely in a land where they are safe, which is today the modern state of Israel. And I know that they're being attacked brutally, and I support their right to exist and to defend themselves. And there's nothing wrong with this.
Let's see. Where did that go? Conflict. Okay, there we go. What do you think happens to people who never hear the gospel? I think that they will be judged based on how they responded to the revelation that they receive. Everyone gets some level of revelation. Islam is true because I say so. That's a good point from Aisha Young.
Good point.
Miriam says, I love you guys. That's good.
Good point. Good point.
Good point. Very valid point. Hey, Chloe, 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. That's the age of a fiance. 3.
Good point.
According to Daniel Hikikachu, yep. D Wood, have you tried lutefisk? Yum yum. No, but I would. I would. I have to say, Scandinavia not known for their cuisine. As a matter of fact, if you examine 100 people who lost their faith in Christianity, I wonder how many of them would turn out to have been reasoned out of it by honest argument. Don't most people simply drift away? Yeah. So people can be argued out of it. That does seem to be a minority. People just, they don't go to church and then, they go away and to college and stuff. And they just find out, just think, hey, I don't believe this. And that kind of accelerated with the new atheism when people were being bombarded with, smart people don't believe this stuff. And it wasn't people like searching through the arguments and so on. They're just, what if it is all stupid and so on.
Good point.
All right. We're ready to jump back in this video.
Good point.
What powerful points does he have left?
Miracles that you cannot deny. If this wasn't the...
He just said these are miracles that we cannot deny. We went through 4 of them. They were the dumbest things ever. But they're standard dawa. It's not like, he's dumb. He's like easily manipulated and gullible and obviously doesn't do his research and believes what anyone says. But this is not just like stupid things that kids say. This is straight from Zakir Naik and Ahmed Deedat and so on. It just tells you about the Ummah and how gullible they were to fall for this stuff. And sadly, people are still falling for it. But this kid thinks this stuff is really irrefutable.
One true religion, it would not be able to predict these things 1,400 years ago. And these last 3 miracles I'm going to tell you are what really sealed the deal for me, proving that Islam is the truth and all other religions are false.
So these are the 3
please bring it.
These are the 3 that really sealed the deal. Here we go.
Quran perfectly explains how we have pain receptors all throughout our skin. It perfectly explains that.
Okay, the Quran, pain receptors, ladies and gentlemen. Fortunately, I have the verse. You ready? Here's what it says. Chapter 4, verse 56. Lo, those who disbelieve our revelations, we shall expose them to the fire. As often as their skins are consumed, we shall exchange for them fresh skins that they may taste the torment. Lo, Allah is ever mighty, wise.
Now, I'm going to very, very quickly say something. So the imagery here is that Allah is going to torture you forever in hell, and you will burn up, but He will not just let you burn up and become whatever. He will refresh you, regenerate you, so that you can burn again and again to eternally torture you. It's so brutal and so graphic. Actually, I want to demonstrate one thing, David, on camera, if you allow. This is going to be a scientific experiment that I want to demonstrate here on screen.
It better be powerful and based. All right.
Yeah. So here you see a hand, right? Now, if I do the following here, if I do this, and like hurt my skin here, grab it, and it hurts. Here I realize that putting pain and pinching my skin actually hurts me and causes pain.
How could you know that? Wait, you know that something in your skin allows you to feel pain?
How could I have known this?
ChatGPT, how is this miraculous knowledge possible?
This is just so whatever. Okay.
Yeah, guys, think about that. So the miracle here is knowing that you feel pain in your skin, which anyone in the world could know just by going like that, or anyone who's ever touched something hot in a fire and so on. So the argument would be, well, how could he know that if all your skin was burned off, that you wouldn't be able to feel pain, and therefore he would need to replace your skin with new skin? How could he know that if your skin is burned off? Well, keep in mind, even if you had no idea, you could think, wait, if I feel pain in my skin and my skin were all burned off, then yeah, how would I feel pain? So you could kind of figure it out. But there's another issue, ladies and gentlemen. There are people who have been burned in their lives, who've had skin burned to where all their pain receptors have been singed, and they don't feel pain in that spot anymore. They don't feel it. So in order to make this argument work, you'd have to say, one, that's what the Quran is actually saying. It's talking about pain receptors, not saying anything like that. But if you assume it's talking about pain receptors and things like that or something, and how could anyone know that if your skin is burned off, you wouldn't feel pain there? You would have to say that Muhammad never anywhere in his life met a burn victim or ever heard from anyone who knew anything about a burn victim. And I'd be interested in seeing what your proof is. Got that? So that one, pretty lame. Maybe his next one's going to be better. I don't think it will be.
All throughout our skin. It perfectly explains that fingerprints are all different. And it also explains
the Quran perfectly explains that fingerprints are all different. You want to see what the Quran actually says on this? This is the miracle, ladies and gentlemen. You just heard it. What did he say? The Quran says that fingerprints are all different. That's interesting. Now you could just look at fingerprints and say, okay, mine are different from yours and so on, but they're all different. What's that based on? Notice, guys, no references. He's not giving any references. He's not putting them on the screen. Nothing. Why? Here's the reference. Here's the actual reference. This is why you don't give a reference for this. If someone looks it up, they're going to see how stupid this is. Surah 75, 3-4. Does man think that we shall not gather his bones? Talking about the resurrection. Matter of fact, just go back to verse 1 so you see the context. Nay, I swear by the day of resurrection. Nay, I swear by the self-accusing soul. Does man think that we shall not gather his bones? Yea, we are able to make complete his very fingertips. We shall gather his bones. Talking about the resurrection, God's going to restore your body and so on. And so he's going to gather your bones, and even down to your fingertips, he's going to restore you. What is the dawah takeaway from this? Oh my goodness, how could Allah know that every fingertip is... Where does it say anything like that? Fingerprints, fingerprinting, fingerprint science, all this. Where does it say any of that? Saying he's going to gather you together right down to your fingertips. You see a miracle here? He's going to resurrect you. He's going to bring back your body all the way down to your fingertips. Oh, you see, this is talking about fingerprints, and how could someone have known back then about all the fingerprints? And it says he's going to restore you down to your fingertips. This is bad, guys. This is dawah, though. This is dawah. Everyone get that? All right, so guys, we're down to one. He said these are his last three. These are the one that sealed the deal. Allah said at the resurrection, he'll restore you right down to your fingertips. And somehow this guy, he interpreted it as what? Let me back up.
Are all different. And it also explains fingerprints are all different throughout our skin. It perfectly explains that fingerprints are all different.
It perfectly explains that fingerprints are all different. Where does it say it? It says, oh, Allah's going to resurrect you and restore you down to your fingertips. This is what sealed the deal for this genius. All right, last one, ladies and gentlemen.
And it also explains how the human embryo is formed. Now remember, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
It explains how the human embryo is formed. So that's the last thing we'll look at. And we'll take the final super chats. We'll be off in a few.
Who the Quran was revealed to was illiterate and did not know how to read and write and was severely uneducated. So if someone was uneducated, did not know how to read and write, how would they possibly be able to predict things like that? Even the greatest scientists that we have known in history have not been able to make predictions of that.
The greatest scientists in history, people like Albert Einstein, could not have made predictions like that. You know, they're predicting like, what will happen in a solar eclipse and how light's going to bend around and stuff. But they couldn't predict something like God will restore you down to your fingertips and how this has something to do with all fingerprints being different and so on. Anyway,
It's impossible.
Powerful.
Accuracy. And then if you just decide to look at the religion logically, it is clear as day that Islam is the one true religion. You cannot prove me wrong.
You can't prove me wrong because I'm obviously brainwashed and too gullible to pay attention to anything. I obviously don't pay attention to refutations. All right, guys. So the final point there was embryology. Embryology. You got that? Embryology was the final point there. Hang on. Why did this expand so much here? 1 second. So embryology, final point. How could Muhammad have known? He's uneducated. How could he have possibly known all about how the embryo forms? Let's go ahead and check this out. All right. we've got a number of passages here. I have a ton of them. I might need to back up a little because why isn't this working? Here we go. Let's go back to where things start. Ready? I have a bunch of translations here. Let's go back to how things start off during development. So here you have Surah 86, verses 5 to 6. Ready? So these, and I'll just go with Pickthall. So let man consider from what he is created. He is created from a gushing fluid, or he is created from a drop emitted. He is created from water gushing forth. That issued from between the loins and the ribs, or Yusuf Ali, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs, proceeding from between the backbone and ribs, coming from between the back and ribs, Shakir. What is it saying? Guys, this is talking about where semen forms. Let man consider what he's created from. He's created from gushing fluid, drop emitted, water gushing forth, water pouring forth. This is how the Quran talks about semen. And where does semen come from? Proceeding from between the backbone and ribs. Where does semen form? Is it between the backbone and the ribs? Guys, figure out where your backbone is. Figure out where your ribs are. Between there, that's where semen forms, according to the Quran. This is how could Muhammad possibly have known that semen is formed between the backbone and the ribs? All right, let's just go through a couple more passages about.
Obviously, urine comes from the testicles. So where else could semen come from?
It has to be. It must be. All right, let's read through a couple of passages. Surah 22:5. This is what's hilarious. I've always liked the point that Surah 22:5 is making, and then Muslims always ruin it by trying to turn it into a scientific miracle when it's obviously not. But, O mankind, if you are in doubt concerning the resurrection, then lo, we have created you from dust, then from a drop of seed, that's the sperm, then from a clot, so there's a blood clot stage, then from a little lump of flesh, shapely and shapeless, that we may make it clear for you. And we cause what we will to remain in your wombs for an appointed time, and afterward we bring you forth as infants, then give you growth that ye attain your full strength, and so on. You guys got this so far? You're from dust, then from a drop of seed, so that's the semen, then from a clot. You know why people in the ancient world thought that there's a blood clot stage in the development? Because women have a monthly menstrual cycle and then it stops. And so, the blood must have clotted. And that must be when the baby's formed. And what does Muhammad put in here? Blood clot stage. Is that right? No, there is no blood clot stage. And that's why you have the modern scientific miracles dawah guys. I mean, again, they've abandoned it now. But before they abandoned it, they would try to translate that as something like a leech and say, oh, look, the embryo kind of looks like a leech over here and this and that. It's absolutely pathetic. It means blood clot, guys. It's a blood clot. And no, there is no blood clot stage in the development of an embryo. What do we have here? Verily, we created man from a product of wet earth. Okay. Then placed him as a drop of seed in a safe lodging. According to Muhammad, you are a drop of sperm for 40 days. Is that correct? No, that is scientifically false. And he copied it from the Talmud. Interesting. Then placed him as a drop of seed in a safe lodging. Then fashioned we the drop a clot, blood clot. Then fashioned we the clot a little lump. Then fashioned we the little lump bones. Then clothed the bones with flesh. Notice what you have there. Then fashioned the little lump bones. So it's a lump. Then it becomes bones. Then the bones are clothed with flesh. So what comes first? Bones. Then the bones are clothed with flesh. So bones come first. Then Allah clothes the bones with flesh. That is scientifically false. Your bones and your flesh are forming at the same time during embryonic development. It's not one forms and then the other. So that's wrong. What do we have here? This one has thickened. It's actually mixed or mingled. So the Pickthall here, lo, we create man from a drop of thickened fluid to test him, so we make him hearing, knowing. No, this is talking. You go to one of these other ones. Verily, we created man from a drop of mingled sperm, mingled, in order to try him. Look at Hillel Khan. Verily, we have created man from nutfa drops of mixed semen, mixed semen. Sher Ali, mingled sperm. Khalifa, liquid mixture, and so on. Arbery, sperm drop, a mingling. Palmer, mingled clot, and so on. What is this referring to? We actually know. This is the massively stupid and completely debunked ancient theory it's called the two semens theory. And read the hadith. Muhammad says that women have their own semen. So men have semen, it's white, and women have semen, and it's yellow. And they mix together. And then whoever has the first orgasm, that determines which parent the child will resemble. And once the fluids have mixed, whichever one rises to the surface, this determines the sex of the child. This is all completely wrong. It's all completely idiotic nonsense. And yet it's supposedly the final miracle that's supposed to convince us. Then you have 86, 5, 6, 7. We already read that. That's it. So that's the Quran on embryology. That's what the Quran gets right, ladies and gentlemen. What did he get right? What did the Quran get right? This is the thing. They'll take something like mingled sperm or something like that, or it'll take something like blood clot, which is false, and then they'll just give it a different translation, and people fall for it. That's what we're dealing with, guys. So that was proving Islam in 25 seconds. Proving Islam in 25 seconds. Did he prove Islam in 25 seconds? I don't think that he did. And I think that's actually pathetic. And it just means we got to be relentless, guys. Again, I will probably put out a short version, a short response to that, where I go through that rapid fire just to make it handy. And we do need some sort of list where every single dawah argument is, we have refutations that are easily accessible, just so people can smack these things down as soon as they happen. Because again, that's what happened the other day on Eddie's channel. He brought something up and then he just got crushed on it. That's what should happen every time someone brings this stuff up. And then guess what? It wouldn't work anymore, and they'd stop using that stupid nonsense. They'd come up with other stuff to make it up. But our ability to respond quickly to things has dramatically increased, and so we need to take advantage of the situation. All right, take these last couple super chats. Have to burn through them. As a matter of fact, if you examine 100, do I already read this? If you examined 100 people who lost their faith in Christianity, I wonder how many of them would turn out to have been, okay, yeah, we already read that. Let's see. And proof Muhammad is prophesied in the Bible. See Matthew 7:15. That is the best and clearest prophecy about Muhammad in the Bible.
This is the proof.
Very clever, Dr. Brown. Oh, sorry, I mean Dr. Wood. Oh, it's Tovia. Chloe says, serious question. My belief stems from fear and Pascal's wager. I accepted Christ after this. Fear of hellfire is a real fear, but does omnipotent God not rule over hell and the devil? Is God split? Yes, Satan is. Yeah, you have like stories and Satan sitting down there with a pitchfork and he's living large there and he's the boss. That's not a biblical picture. But no, people believe for different reasons and so on. And so there's always, well, I don't want to say always, but there lots of times, matter of fact, me and AP and what we were saying just a couple days ago when we were talking about this, it's not Pascal's wager. There are problems with Pascal's wager, but there's some things right about Pascal's wager in terms of thinking of the implications. If I'm right about this, what is this? What is the result? And if I'm right about this, what is the result? And those factors actually can play a role in reason. In other words, the practical consequences of certain things. And so, nope, that's it's reasonable to be thinking like that. You certainly need more. You don't want to say, well, I'm scared of hell, because I'm scared of hell, and I don't want to be scared of hell. Well, you could convert to Islam then, right? Even though in Islam, everyone's going to hell anyway, according to Islam. But a lot of people will come out of it. But anyway, so there's got to be more to that. But
I have never been scared of hell. I think it's kind of
me neither.
It's a weird thing to focus on, and a weird thing to allow to steer your beliefs. I would say that. Anyway, whatever. Continue.
Yeah, and on that, some people just think differently, because I've known multiple people who are like, hey, I know I've messed up and done things, and I believe in the future judgment, and so I'm actually concerned about this sort of thing. One thing is true about Momo and his followers. Not one of them use their brains, and all are uneducated. What's the context anyways? Very rude, Rick. Some people do use their brains. It takes a lot of brain power to defend some of the nonsense that we see. There once was a false prophet named Momo. He liked Dia al-Kalbi, a homo. The angel Jibril held him by the heel and said, "This is how semen is formed."
Very rude.
Very, very, very rude. And Islamophobic. Lefa, Futimunda, Rosettes, Lutefisk. Norwegians are not Swedes. True Vikings and North backbones. Yeah, I'm just saying no one up there is really known for their cuisine. No one says, hey, no. When you say, hey, what are we going to go out? No one says, let's get some Norwegian food. I've never heard that once in my life. Biology with Momo. May police and boom squads be upon him. Yes, he is the true. How could he have known this stuff? It's absolutely amazing. And I'm not sure how my teachers and professors can live with themselves now that I know this. My life is a lie. Alhamdulillah. Pigs and beer. This is weird. It's weird stuff. All right, guys. So we'll be back. Yeah, we're reversing things. So normally we're live on AP's channel. Today we're live on my channel. So we'll be live on IP's channel tomorrow. Last super chat here. Where do you think Islam is headed? Where do you think Islam is headed in the U.S. over the next 5 to 10 years? And I think hell is awful. Imagine a complete and utter darkness, total absence of God. Oh yeah, no, it's bad. It's just AP's talking about like letting that be in your reasoning. Like why would you think it's true if you didn't even have a revelation to tell you that that's going to happen? So in other words, if you're believing that hell is real, you're kind of already believing that you have some revelation about it from God and so on. So if you didn't believe in that revelation to start, why would you be concerned about it? But with that said, no, I do get it because, hey, we all know there's some sort of like moral, we all know that we've done things wrong. So if you think, hey, if there's a future judgment, I'd be in trouble over this stuff, and therefore I should be concerned about that. Does make sense. As far as where Islam is heading over the next 5 to 10 years, I think Islam had a really bad year last year. Islam's going to have an even worse year this year, and I think it's going to keep getting worse because it's just all of dawah has been deception. They got away with it, and Islam spreads in two ways. It spreads by the sword, spreads through violence, or it lies in an atmosphere of ignorance and dupes people into believing it. Well, Islam just isn't strong enough to conquer the world militarily anymore. And it's becoming easier and easier, and we're becoming quicker and quicker at exposing the dawah nonsense. And they have nothing else. There's no plan B for them. So they just keep doing the same stupid things over and over again. It's not working.
Yeah, I would say with the whole hell thing is like I don't want to make any doctrinal assertions or anything. I am first off not in a position. Secondly, I wouldn't ever want to do such a thing. But the one guiding thought is always that that if you believe in God and if you believe in the all-knowing and all-merciful and infinite compassion of God, then it would be a strange thing to believe that God would despite you living your best and truest and trying to find the right way, eternally punish you for something like that. I think that no matter what you accept as the true doctrine, if you believe in Christianity, I think it is kind of inconceivable to me that God would actually punish people eternally simply because they didn't get it right.
Chloe says, Clark Ashton Smith, Schizoid creator, God is split. Is that something you're recommending we watch or something? Because that sounds weird. Alan Grays here says, Allah pokes you forever with a fork and Jehannam. And yeah, you don't want Allah poking anything given his prophet selection, his final prophet selection. All right, guys, got to cut out right now. Have to be downstairs to check out got to sign the thing for the nurse to leave. All right, we'll be back tomorrow on AP's channel. Catch you all then.
Alhamdulillah.